Tasaisesti kaikille tervetuloa Lontooseen. Täällä ollaan ottelijahotellilla aloittamassa UFC Lontoon mediapäivää. Pikkasen oli taas vaihteeksi teknisiä ongelmia tuossa aloituksessa. Yhtäkkiä päätti kamera alkaa sekoilemaan, mutta ei anneta sen haitata. Nyt meillä on täällä kuva ja toivon mukaan ääni ja tuolla taustalla näkyykin Jannekin häirii gimbalin kanssa. Poikkeuksellisen hiljainen on Lontoon mediapäivä. Huomaa, että tää on vähän tämmönen niin sanotusti välitason ilta. Meillä on nyt vedetty tuohon kameraan sitten äänet tuolta audiopöydästä XLR:n kautta, niin katsotaan sitten minkälainen melu sieltä tulee. Hei, Aker ja Kadishoki ja Joonas Huttula, tervetuloa kaikki mukaan. Unibetin tarjouksista ei ole tässä kohtaa mulla mitään käsitystä. Ja Baba, hienoa, että pääsit mukaan. Näköjään hälytys on tullut läpi. Loistavaa. Ja jos mietit, että miksi mä puhun hirveän kovaa, niin en vitti häiritä muita työntekijöitä. Täällä kukaan muu ei tätä striimaa livenä, niin täällä on aika tämmönen harras tunnelma. Alkuperäinen suunnitelma on se, että Marcin Tybura olisi ensimmäinen ottelija, ketä tulee nyt median eteen ja sen pitäisi tapahtua näillä sekunneilla. Varttia vailla oli siis tarkoitus aloittaa. Ja hienoa, kun olette päässyt messiin. Tykittäkää sieltä kysymyksiä, toiveita ja kommentteja. Jaha, sieltä tippui kylttikin jo pöydän päältä. Aker, hei, tosiaan croissantteja jää meille enemmän, me syödään ne kaikki. Me kyllä syötiin hotellille ihan hyvä aamupala, mutta aina sitä mahtuu enemmän ja mielellään syökin vähän enemmän. Mä etin nopeasti täältä tämän meidän alustavan järjestyksen, eli tosiaan nyt varttia vaille pitäisi Marcin Tyburan olla tuolla pöydän ääressä. Sitten Julija Stoliarenko, Fili, Herbert, McCann, Shauna Bannon, Paul Gregg, Nathaniel Wood, Lerone Murphy, Mick Parkin ja Aspinall sitten kruunaa illan. Otetaan vähän tuossa ulospäin kuvaa, kun siellä ei nyt mitään tapahdu, niin näette vähän enemmän. Atte tosiaan pitää paikkaansa, että businessluokassa lennettiin, mutta ne on itse nöyrästi upgradeattuja. Mutta kun siihen oli mahdollisuus, niin kyllähän se kannattaa tehdä. On se kivempi, voi vähän siinä sitten ottaa rennommin ja vähän tehdä töitäkin paremmin siinä lennon aikana. Mutta ihan niin kuin omalla rahalla, jos ostelee businesslentoja, niin ei meikäläisen kukkaro kestä siihen, eikä kukaan mulle koskaan mitään businesslentoja varmasti myöskään työn puolesta tule tarjoamaan, mutta välillä tällaista pientä luksusta. Hei, ootteko käynyt kattoo Ylilyönti Studion YouTube-kanavalta? Meillähän oli eilen vieraana Ian Dean. Ihan huikea hauska heppu Cage Warriorsin matchmakeri, ja hän tosiaan tavoistaan poiketen ei ole mikään kameran edessä heiluja eikä tykkää hirveästi sitä tehdä, niin esiintyi meille oikein lämpimässä hengessä. Hieno mies kaikella tapaa. Ja sitten meillä oli myös Jamba Kulmala ja Jesse Urholin molemmat kävi antaa läpät, eli ne löytyy tuolta haastattelut nopeasti Jannen editoimana meidän YouTubesta. Se on aika makeeta, että saatiin näin nopeasti liikkeelle. No niin, Akerkin on mennyt paluun. Bisneksessä on luksusta kyllä ja babaista, mutta Jaakko ei ole köyhä eikä kipeä. No kipeä mä en ainakaan, mutta köyhä mä oon aina ollut. Ja näitä töitä, mitä itse on siunautunut tekemään, niin näillä ei kyllä välttämättä ihan hirveästi pääse rikastumaan, mutta vuokrat saa maksettua ja leipää pöytään, niin eikö se nyt riitä? Ja jonain päivänä vielä, jos jostain saisi rahaa, niin ostaisin itselleni Porsche. jonkun. Se on jotenkin semmoinen juttu, että en tarvii mitään hirveä erikoista kartanoa eikä mitään, mutta jotenkin saksalaiset urheiluautot niin on itselleni mieluisia. Masanteri antaa palautetta videoista, että viimeaikaiset videot on ollut mahtavia. Kiitos tästä. Niitä on ollut hirmu kiva tehdä. Me ollaan Jannen kanssa ahkeroitu nyt, kun on ollut aikaa. Janne on ollut omista päivätöistään kesälomalla, niin me ollaan pystytty sitten tekemään materiaalia sitten normaalia enemmän. Joo, ei mitään. Mä kattelin vaan. Joo. Onko äänet ihan ok? Joo. Janne tuolta huikkasi takalta, että Iltalehdeltä ei ole vielä tullut uutisia, mutta siellä Iltalehdellekin tulee myös Jambasta ja Uraliniessestä sitten juttu varmaan ennen Cage Warriors perjantailla. Tapahtumat eilen kuvattiin ja on toimitettu sitten jo Iltalehden toimitukseen. Baba miettii, että miten Makulta muuten kukaan ei kysy, miksi kaasuttaa ekaan erään. Joo, siis kyllä mä luulen, että sitä on kysytty moneen kertaan ja siihen on varmaan aika useinkin tullut samantyylisiä vastauksia, että jotain on ollut just silloin vialla. Onpas paita rutussa, kun toi mikki on tossa, mutta ei varmaan ketään haittaa, että paita menee ruttuun. Mutta Vanhan usein itse kertoo kysymättäkin, että mikä on mennyt mönkään. Ja usein sitten otteluihin valmistautuessa on ollut jotain muuta kuin itse ottelua. Jaha, nyt hei, sieltä tulee Marcin Tybura, pääottelun toinen osapuoli. Mäpä vähän vaikenen ja annetaan vuoro hänelle.
Okay, good. Marcin, hi, how are you? You faced off with Tom. I believe he said some things to you in Polish. What did he say to you?
Yeah, he said I'm not fat anymore. So he was referring that I lose some weight maybe over the past camp. Yeah.
Were you surprised that he was able to speak some Polish?
No, I knew he speaks Polish. I know he has a Polish root, so yeah, that wasn't surprising me. A little bit that he was saying it when he was recorded, because I had the rumor that he don't wanna talk much when he got interviews or something. But yeah, he was speaking Polish. He was speaking Polish well.
Yeah, and obviously this is your second main event, I believe, of your career. Tom has never gone past round 2. He has been booked for main events. So do you think the key for you is to drag him into deep waters?
The key is for sure to drag him in the deep waters. I don't know about the going to the further rounds. It's something unknown for sure how Tom will be look like in third, 4 or 5 round. But I'm not sticking to the plan that he will get tired and I will finish him. I just wanna go hard right from the beginning, because if I wanna make him tired, I have to get tired too, and I don't wanna just stay there and wait for him to get tired.
Yeah, and both of you have shown off your ground game throughout your UFC career. First of all, what do you think of his ground game, and do you envision that this fight will play out on the ground?
I see his ground game. I saw his impressive performance with Alexander Volkov. So he's very good. I knew his ground game is on such a high level before. I spoke with some people even from Poland who train with Thomas Aspinall, and we'll see. I don't feel like uncomfortable go to the ground with Tom. I confident about my skills there too, and we see how it plays out.
And you've been in the UFC since 2016. How do you think the heavyweight division has changed over the years? Do you think it's the best it's ever been?
Well, yeah, it is. Yeah, it's because I'm here. Yeah, it's a really fun division right now. I think it's because there is lots of contenders there. It's lots of fighters who just right now can fight for the belt, and they're not getting in because it's so busy. So it's very interesting division, and bringing the John Jones, he got much more interesting because I see him as a bigger star right now fighting. So yeah, some division that people keep an eye on.
And like you said, it is wide open. So where do you feel like a win over Tom Aspinall would put you?
Well, I'm hoping to put me in top 5, but probably that will, I will get another fight to get the title fight. That's something realistic. I look at it realistic. So I will probably need another fight to get the chance at the belt.
And you mentioned John Jones. He's fighting Stipe. How do you think that fight plays out? Who wins?
I see that it's hard to bet against John Jones. Whatever he did in the octagon, he always comes with the hand raised. So, and I'm a fan of his style of fighting, and I'm picking John to win it.
And he kind of hinted at retirement a little bit. Do you think if he beats Stipe, he sticks around, or do you think he'll retire?
Hard to tell, because he was saying that he will retire, and then he got back, and then he say some other stuff which he didn't do. So he was talking about retire after it, but it depends. I think he might feel it like he want to, but if he wins, he might still be hungry for more.
Thank you.
Hi, Marcin. Due to the way that Tom's fight with Curtis Blades went last year, do you see Tom as a fighter coming off a loss or not, because it was kind of down to an injury?
I don't think it's he's coming off a loss like he got beat up, right? He might coming off something bad happen, and that's something that might be in the back of his mind, but I'm not, I don't pay attention much about his mentality and his if there will be something bother him coming up to the fight. But he might. I don't know. I'm not focusing on this one.
And because of the injury, do you think there'll be any tentativeness at all, or are you expecting him to be 100% and coming forward from the off?
Yeah, that's another thing I'm not focusing on. I don't want to build my confidence about him being limping or something like this. I just hoping that he's 100% healthy and 100% ready. So that kind of opponent excites me the most.
Would you think of Tom or rank Tom as your toughest opponent to date, or not?
Absolutely, yeah. I no doubt he's my toughest opponent in my career.
Best of luck, mate.
Thank you.
Marcin, to your left. Hi. A lot of the conversation in the media leading up to this fight has been about Tom, him coming back from injury, fighting on home soil, fighting in London. How does that sit with you? Are you happy being the guy who not too many people are talking about, or do you feel a little bit disrespected heading into this?
I don't mind my position in this one. I really like to be an underdog. I really like to be in the blue corner. As long as I'm not the champion, it's nice to be an underdog. Just I have more stake to cut in this fight. Yeah, that's my approach for those kind of fights. I don't mind it, like it's anyway. It's very busy for me. The fight week, everything. I know how attention it gets. I signed for it. So I don't feel like I'm just the background here. I just feel like the main hero also of the main event.
And a win over Tom would obviously be a real statement in the heavyweight division. And with it being so wide open, as Farah was saying earlier, who would be your natural next step in your quest to sort of get that shot at the title, do you think?
You know, the closest it gets to the fight, I just don't want to see. I just don't want to think about next step. And you know, right now it's much more on focusing on happen on Saturday. But yeah, I don't mind to share it if that comes the way I planned it. And I probably will need another win to get a title. I don't know, Sergey Pavlovich.
And if you're looking at Tom stylistically, where do you think you have the greatest advantage in terms of the different facets of MMA?
Against Tom?
Yeah.
It's hard for mention just one. I just feel like whatever he brings, I have to bring more. So I am just hoping to have advantage in every aspect.
And London has a very large Polish contingent. Are you expecting there to be a strong level of support for you in the arena on Saturday night?
I'm expecting to be some. Probably there will be, you know, much more British fans booing for me a little bit and cheering for Tom. But yeah, there will be Polish fan base there, and I will be focusing on them to make them happy.
Brilliant. Thanks a lot.
You spoke about the crowd. You know, a lot of fighters have the O2 Arena on their bucket list of places to fight. Was London somewhere that you'd always looked forward to fighting?
Yeah. I was. That was the place I really want to fight. Once I know how big the martial arts here are, and yes, the O2 Arena. I've been attending the UFC events before here. I saw the atmosphere there, and that was really something I want to be a part of.
And you've headlined an event before in your career, you know, a little bit earlier on into the UFC. What are the differences that you're finding this week?
For sure, there is a much more experience. That was like 6 or 7 years back, and there's lots of change, you know, like mentality, my approach to training, to fighting, to all this, fighting show in general. So it would take a while to mention everything, but it's a completely different mindset for this one.
And in terms of who you are as a fighter, how do you think you've developed since that time? You as a fighter, how do you think you've developed since that time?
Well, I developed physically for sure. My body changed. There's lots of stuff that I build up. I skilled up. There's, I was treated as a jiu-jitsu fighter before. Right now, I don't feel like there is a dominant, one thing dominant in my game. I think like I'm well-rounded and fully prepared. I'm a mixed martial artist.
And you've gone 2-0, I think it is, since moving camps. Can you talk about the impact that that's had to you?
Say again.
The impact that moving camps has had for you.
The moving camp? This one? You mean the camp? How
it's impacted your performances going forward? You moved camp, your new team.
The new team?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I joined the team about 7 fights ago. So I really loved it. I travel around the world and I found it the best place to train. Really getting a lot with my coach, Andrzej Kościelski. And yeah, he's a big part of this win streak and how the fighters I am right now.
And in terms of Tom, he's never been past the second round. So do you see that playing to your advantage, having gone the distance so many times before?
It might. I'm not 100% sure say it will. I'm not focusing on, I'm not building my confidence about he's getting tired in there. It might because it's unknown, but we will find it out on Saturday.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No niin, sinne meni Marcin Tybura. Hienosti hois hommansa toinen puoli pääottelijoista. Tybura, vaikka lähteekin selkeänä altavastaajana lauantai-illan pääotteluun, niin hänelle on vaikea toivoa tappiota. Miellyttävä kaveri, toki sitä myös Tom Aspinall, mutta Tom Aspinall ehkä vähän kyvykkäämpi sitten näin ottelijana, jos realistisesti ajatellaan. No niin, Julija Stoliarenko tulee. Vaihdetaan suoraan siihen.
Hi, over here on.
Yeah, hello.
Hi. You're making your flyweight debut. I just wanted to ask what went behind the decision, because you fought catchweights, you fought bantamweight throughout your career. Why flyweight at this point in your career?
So basically, every time when I was stepping to a featherweight, it was just because I wanted to get a fight. I just catched the opportunities, but it wasn't because I was too big or big enough for featherweight. It was just like catching opportunities, you know. The same was with Ultimate Fighter. It was in featherweight. That's why I got here, and I always was like normal bantamweight. And with the time, my weight class started to become easier and easier. And the last, I think, 3 fights, I did not cut too much weight. And basically, looking on my frame, I'm typical flyweight. I never was the biggest bantamweight, and we always was thinking with my coach about changing the weight division, but we was looking for how to cut weight more, and my body just started to do that by itself. And when the opportunity came, we just like, okay, let's try that one. And of course, I always felt that if I will do something better, if I can be a better fighter, I will be better fighter in flyweight.
And do you think that's kind of harmed your career, having to jump from so many weight classes, like I said, catchweight, bantamweight, and are you excited to kind of show maybe the real version of you?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. If you look at my record, I'm pretty good. I was pretty good bantamweight. But as a featherweight, I was like so. Yeah. So I hope that I'm going to be even better flyweight.
And you're taking on Molly. Obviously, the crowd's going to be behind her, but we are in Europe, so it is kind of like close to you as well. So what does it feel like to kind of be in enemy territory, and are you expecting to have some fans come to watch you as well?
You know, it's not the first time for me fighting in the enemy territory, and for me, honestly, I love that. I love when I'm fighting in the territory of my opponent, when everybody is cheering for them. It boosts me even more also. And, you know, fighting in London, it was my dream. Because London is the closest city where like UFC is doing events. To Lithuania. We have a very big community of Lithuanians here. Also, I'm representing Roger Gracie Academy, and the academy is here. So for me, for example, it was so easy to be here in London over fight week. I had academy like cheering for me, helping me with partners who I know for a long time, and it was. I'm feeling like home. I'm feeling like home, and yeah, I love fighting in London for sure. And it's a mixture of fighting in enemy's territory and also having your people on my side. Like that's everything I love in fighting.
Yeah, and one more for me. Molly had a lot of momentum. Her last one didn't go her way. Do you think that's going to impact her? Like, has that changed the way you look at her, or what do you kind of make of Molly?
You know, it's her thing. We'll see how it's going to be. I'm focusing more on myself.
And how do you see the fight playing out?
We'll see.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Cool, perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No niin, se meni nopeasti. Stoliarenko vauhdikkaasti vastasi kysymyksiin, tai eikö sitä tarvitse hirveästi kysyä, kun Stoliarenko kertoi, että miten hommat tulee hoitumaan. Energisen oloinen oli liettualainen, vaikka painoluokkaa ollaan vedetty alemmas. Stoliarenkolla muistaakseni joku 15 sentin ulottuvuusetu Meatball Molliin nähden, Eli saa nähdä, että minkälainen merkitys sillä on. Mollyhan tulee kyllä hirmuisella latauksella otteluihin. No niin, Aakkari kysyi, että Julija voittaa pisteellä ja Jalmari Pesonen kanssa Blanchfield näytti, että Molly ei pärjää matossa. Mut hei, toihan oli toi Mollin UFC-debyytti Gillian Robertsonia vastaan, niin siinä nähtiin jo, että ei ole mitään mattopeliä. Ja kiva hei pesiskuot mestoilla, ei ole pitkään aikaan nähtykään. Mikke siellä miettii, että onko tullut huhuja 612, 658 peruutuksen. Ei mitään käsitystä, mä en ainakaan ole kuullut. Täällä on 15 ottelua, jos tarkoitus lauantaina olla. Mä en itse asiassa ole ehtinyt katsoa mitään Twitteriä. Aika kiireellä tultiin aamulla tänne ja sitten tuossa oli vielä vähän säätöä ton audion kanssa, että saatiin kameraan audiot ja kondikseni ei ole päässyt oikein kunnolla selaamaan huhuja ja muita. Mutta toivotaan, että ei ole suurempia peruutuksia. Cage Warriorsin puolella Jambalta ainakin tuli just viesti, että se on ainakin painoissa ja heillä alkaa just nyt punnitus. Eli Jamba on varmaan näillä hetkillä punnittu. Jessen painovedosta en osaa nyt sanoa mitään, mutta eiköhän hänkin ole painoissa. Varmaan kohta kuuluu sieltäkin. Seuraavana meillä pitäisi olla Fili, joka kohtaa sitten Nathaniel Woodin. Oliko se nyt sitten 3. vika ottelu illassa? Sieltä kuuluu takatiloista kuuluu amerikan kieltä, niin katsotaan josko sieltä tuli se sitten jo seuraava kaveri. Todella hiljaisen oloinen on UFC-pressi. Jos on edelliset pari, tai oikeastaan 3 Lontoon UFC:tä ollut täyteen ammuttuja ja huikeita sekä ottelijakaartiltaan että tarinaltaan, niin nyt on kyllä siirrytty kovin arkiseen. Keväällähän oli kuitenkin PPV ja siellä oli mestaruusmatsi, missä Leon Edwards kohtasi Kamaru Usmanin 3. kerran ja siellähän oli myös Dana White paikan päällä. Viime kesänä oli tosiaan pääottelussa Tom Aspinall, siellä otteli myös Makvan Amerikaani ja edelliskeväänä niin sitten oli myös tää huikea Golden Era of British MMA, Paddy ja kaikki muut esiintyivät. Nyt ei ole Paddy kortilla. Paddy itse asiassa nähtiin eilen Cage Warriors hotellilla. Siellä se veti pikaruokaa, mutta ei ollut kyllä hirveän paksussa kondiksessa. Aakkari, hei, nutellaan ehdottomasti naamaan. En ehtinyt tänä aamuna, kyllä nutellaan syömään, mutta ehkä sitten lounaalla. Ja tuossa on kahvia meille tarjolla ja siellä on noita tommosia, onko sekä croissantteja, niitä semmosia suklaatäytteisiä leivoksia. Kyllä niillä pysyy energiat kondiksessa. Ja tässä nyt voin samalla mainostaa, että huomennahan me tullaan tähän samaan paikkaan tekee aamulla sitten virallinen punnitus. Ja se alkaa paikallista aikaa kello 9. Eli Suomessa se on sitten kello 11. Ja varttia vailla 11 aloitetaan striimi. Ja toivon mukaan siinä aika nopeasti ottelijat sitten käy vaalla. Nähdään sitten kondikset ja Janne voi nappaa sitten valokuvat vielä ottelijoista vaalta. Ja sitten huomennahan onkin tosiaan kun on perjantai, niin sitten on vielä Cage Warriors, mutta sieltä ei mitään liveä tuu. Henri Laurila, alustava lista pressiin tulevista niin kyllä on. Ja Marcin Tybura oli ensimmäisenä ja äsken oli Julija Stoliarenko. Tämän jälkeen tulee Fili, Herbert, Molly McCann, Shauna Bannon, Paul Gregg, Nathaniel Wood, Lerone Murphy, Mick Parkin ja viimeisesti Tom Aspinall. Ja tää on siis pressiin tulevat tyypit. Kaikki ottelijat, ei tänne tule, niin kuin huomaatte varmasti nimistä, niin kaikki on valtaosa on sitten kotikehän ottelijoita ja heidän vastustajiaan. Ottelujärjestys, mulla ei nyt sitä ole tässä, mutta se varmaan löytyy Tapologista. Äkkiä mä sen jostain tongin, jos se kiinnostaa. Joo, hei Pesonen toi Islam Makhachev, Charles Oliveira 2. Kyllä se kelpaa. Henri Laurila punnituslistaa, niin punnituksiin tullaan silleen, että se ketä tulee ekana tuonne takatilaan ja painoissa, niin hän saa tulla sitten ekana vaakaan. Ja 9 aukeaa toi virallinen vaaka, mikä on siis tossa, missä toi pressipöytä nyt on. Niin first come, first serve on se kaava. Eli tässä ei voi tietää, että kuka tulee ekana vaakaan. Mutta oletettavaa on, että ensimmäiseen puoleen tuntiin tulee ne, ketkä eniten vetää painoa. Joo, tosiaan Abu Dhabissa Islam Makhachev Charles Oliveira 2 kelpaa. Ja sitten palkosta Hamza Chimaev co-main event, eli se on tosi kelpo. Toivon mukaan saisin semmoisen budjetin kerättyä, että voisin lähteä sinne tekemään matskuun. Hienoja otteluita. Viime vuonna Abu Dhabissa olin. Noniin. Jamba on painoissa, Jesselläkin on painot kunnossa, vaikka ei virallisessa vaas vielä käynyt. Hei Pesonen, ketä vastaan ton Paolo Koston piti otella? Mä en yhtään muista, mikä silloin on ollut sovittuna. Hei, muistutan kaikkia, että käykää ihmeessä katsomassa meidän ennakkovideot Cage Warriorsista, missä Jamba ja Jesse kertoo fiiliksistään. Ja sitten meillä on myös Cage Warriorsin matchmakerin Ian Deanin haaste eiliseltä, mikä oli itselle tosi mieluisa ja tosi hauska. Ja Ian on ihan huikea heppu, eli kannattaa käydä kuuntelemaan, että mitä Ian siellä sitten jauhaa. Ja Ian Dean on varmaan mukavin kaveri vapaa-otteluskenestä, mitä tiedän. Hänestä taitaa kaikki tykkää. Okei, eli Ikram Aliskerovia vastaan Paolo Koston piti otella. Aivan, okei. Aika rauhallistahan täällä on. Voisi nyt vaan vauhdilla tulla sieltä lisää jengiä. Mikäs kelloaika oli tolle Andre? Kelloaika on laitettu tolle Andre Filille. No niin, pressijärjestystä, joo. Aivan. Ja pressijärjestys tosiaan se, että seuraavana pitäisi olla, nyt vartti yli oli tarkoitus olla Andre Fili, mutta nämä aina vähän menee mitä sattuu. Äkkiä on tosta ottelujärjestyksestä. Tosiaan joo, Andre Fili ottelee Nathaniel Woodin vastaan, se on 3. viimeinen ottelu, eli tähän tulee eka tulee nämä 3 viikan sinisen kulman ottelijat periaatteessa, eli vierastyöläiset. Ankkari kysyy Aleksin seuraavan ottelun, eli täällä varmaan viitataan Aleksi Mäntykiveen, niin se on varmaan syys-lokakuussa Cage Warriorsissa pitäisi Allun otella ottelu. Tää vastustaja eikä ihan päivämäärää ollut löyty lukkoon, mutta jompikumpi syys-lokakuussa jompikumpi se on. Eli syksyllä nähdään, kun Allu on seuraavan kerran häkissä. Ootko käynyt hakemaan mitään syötävää?
Ei, mä teen meidän shortsia.
Okei, no niin.
Kun se pystyy kuvaamaan.
Joo. Joo. Tuolla, mites päin mä voin väistää? Näin. Siellä takana niin Janne vääntää videoita ja kuvailee, että siellä on kamera on gimbaalilla siellä ja ja ne ottaa valokuvia ja videoita sitten meidän käyttöön ja editoi. Eli kyllä tässä puuhaa riittää kahdellekin. Ja ittenihän mua ei kiinnosta millään tasolla editoida eikä rustailla mitään. Eli hyvä, että joku muu tekee sen mun puolesta. Mä voin sit vaan pöllötellä vaikka tässä puhumassa teille. Kato, Eetu, tervetuloa Ylilyönti Studion pakeille Lontooseen ja siellähän näkyy kamerassa pressipöytä. Akker kysyi, että paljonko paino nousee reissun aikana, kuinka usein Jaakko käy vaalla. En käy itse hirveän usein vaalla, mut kyllä varmaan auttamatta pikkasen nousee, kun loppujen lopuksi yllättävän paljon on semmoista niin istumista ja kökkimistä ja huonosti syömistä. Ja sit jos juo iltakalja ja lounaalla jonkun kaljan, niin kyllä se semmoista niin pientä pöhöä tulee, mutta kyllä sitten taas toisaalta eilenkin kävin ihan pikkasen jumppaamassa ja kyllä meillä oli tänäänkin tarkoitus Jannekaan mennä vähän sitten, jos iltapäivällä kun saadaan työt tehtyä, niin vähän sitä Thames-jokea joen vartta pitkin hölköttelee hotellille, että saa vähän jotain semmoista pikkuliikkumista, mutta on silleen jotenkin omalla laillaan kuluttavia ja raskaita noin, just kun ei, rytmi on vähän epäsäännöllinen ja syöminen on ihan mitä sattuu ja semmoista normiliikkumista ei ole ehkä niin paljon, mutta kyllä sen just kestää, kun sit voi taas ensi viikolla yrittää syödä vähän siistimmin ja liikkua vähän paremmin. Hei Pesonen, tossa toi jossain näin semmosen, olisiko olla Ariel Helvani tai joku twiittasi, Duplessisillä on joku vamma, mikä ehkä vähän viivästyttää hänen paluuta, mutta en tiedä. Mutta siis Adesanya ja Strickland ei kyllä kiinnosta yhtään. Mutta toki Adesaniankin kiva, että hän ottelee ja on aktiivinen tietenkin, niin se on tosi jees. Ja jotain vastaa pitää kuitenkin otella. Mieluiten tietenkin olisin nähnyt vaikka Adesanyan, isolla Adesanyan vaikka Hamza Chimaevia tai Dricus Duplessisia vastaan. Mutta katsotaan nyt miten, just niin kuin Pesonkin sanoi, katsotaan mikä se on se niin todellinen toteutuva tilanne. Että eihän ton Mahashev Oliveirakaan pitänyt onnistua tonne Abu Dhabiin. Siellä se nyt sit kuitenkin on. Hei, mainostetaan nyt vähän sitten vielä Ilmenin Mikan YouTube-kanavaa, missä me käytiin Porissa Jesse ja Suvi haastattelemaan, Jesse Urholin ja Suvi Salmimiestä. Se on eilen julkaistu ja me oltiin siellä Jannen kanssa mukana. Me toteutettiin se kuvaus hässäkkä Jannen kanssa, koska Immun kuvaaja oli lomalla ja autettiin siinä sitten Immu, että toki pööpöilin siellä mukana videollakin. Käykää sekin kattoo, ihan hauskaa tarinaa Jesse ja Suvi siellä iskee. Joo hei Pesonen, toi on totta, että Strickland tuo niihin presseihin ja omalla käytöksellään ja mielipiteellään varmasti myötähäpeää ja huumoria. Tää on kovin tämmönen perinteinen nyt tää pressi täällä, kun alkuun saadaan heti hyvä boogie ja siitä me saadaan tässä istuskella ja ihmetellä ja odotella. Mutta sille meistä ei nyt kukaan mitään voi. Joka kerta kun täällä Lontoossa ollaan, niin sanon samaa, että kaupunki on hieno ja miellyttävä paikka, toki iso ja ruuhkainen, mutta kyllä Lontoa aina on hyvä paikka tulla käymään. Jos haluaa shoppailla ja syödä ja katsella nähtävyyksiä, kierrellä vaikka museoita tai mitä vaan, niin kyllä täältä löytyy kaikki teatteria, musikaaleja ja hirveän määrä ihmisiä ja kulttuureita. Että kyllä Lonto on vanha kaupunki ja täynnä kaikkea, mitä ihminen voi oikeastaan kaivatakin. Ja vaikka tämä iltama nyt Aspinall Tybura ei ehkä ole semmoista tähtisädettä, niin tunnelma O2 Areenalla on varmasti taas oluen huumaama. Ehkä mä käyn tässä kohtaa pissalla. Mä heitän siksi aikaa ton kameran tuohon valmiiksi, että jos toi saattaa tulla tuolta toi seuraava ottelija, kun mä käyn veskis, niin nähdään ihan kohta. Täällä ollaan takaisin kahvia. Ja croissanttia rikkaampana. Tosiaan kello on nyt paikallista aikaa 10.30 ja nyt täältä tullaankin sitten Jai Herbertin kanssa. Hetkinen.
All right, guys.
Hey, Jai. Over here. Left.
How you doing? You all right? Yeah.
Good. How are you? When they gave you the matchup, Faris Ziem, tall, lanky striker like yourself, did that excite you?
Yeah, tall, lanky striker like myself. Yeah, good matchup, man. Looking forward to it. I'm excited. So yeah, I'm ready to go.
And what do you make of his striking? Obviously, he comes from a striking background. First of all, were you kind of aware? Have you watched him before, or did you have to kind of watch some tape?
No, I had seen him before on one of the UFC cards, so I did sort of know who it was. And yeah, good striker. But yeah, I'm confident in my own striking ability, so you know I'm going to go out there and get the win.
He mixed things up in his last win. What do you think the chances are that we see a takedown in this fight, whether from you or him, like percentage?
Yeah, I think there'll be, you know, like I say, he look to wrestle as well and strike, so I won't be surprised if he shoots in on a takedown on me. So yeah, I'm ready for that situation and I'm ready to go wherever the fight goes.
And your last fight, I know you were very disappointed with the draw. Just how have you been able to kind of reflect from that? And was it hard to kind of get over that outcome?
Yeah, you know, it was. I'm just happy with the performance. I've just moved on from it now. You know, I look back at the fight and I'm just happy with the performance. The result is what it is, and all I can do is look at the performance and take confidence from that.
And are you content moving forward in your career to just keep fighting in the UK? Like, would you have it that way?
Yeah, I love fighting in the UK. You know, it's just down the road for me. London is, so you know, it's great. But now, yeah, I'd love to fight all around the world, wherever the UFC want me to go.
Right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Jai, with that last fight, with the draw, you had a point taken away for what's down as multiple groin strikes. When we looked back at some videos afterwards, I think one of them looked like it was more on the hip or something like that. Is there anything you think that refs or officials could put in place in terms of going back and quickly watching videos more just to get some clarity on that kind of stuff, or does it stop the action too much? Like, how do you feel as a fighter? Do you think there needs to be more, I hate to use the phrase like VAR, what there is in football, because there's such a negativity around that at the moment, but is there something that could be more used more frequently or in place?
Yeah, like the VAR situation. I mean, to be honest, it was only taking minutes to look at the video, wasn't it? So, you know, not even that, 30 seconds or whatever to like look at it and like make a decision. Or a referee outside the cage could maybe have a look and give their opinion. But, you know, it is what it is. The first shot was definitely a groin strike. The next one was questionable. You know, it looked like I caught him. I didn't think I hit him in the groin, to be honest. It looked like he just hit. You look at the video, everyone's saying I hit the groin. Hit his hip, yeah. So, but I've just moved on from it now, you know. It is what it is. I'm happy with the performance and I'm just taking the confidence into my next fight. Thank you very much.
Jai, you've been in there with Ilia Topuria. I'm just curious how you think he does against Alexander Volkanovski.
I think, you know, Volk is probably up there. I think he's pound for pound number one now at the minute. I watched his last fight against... who did he just fight? Yeah. I watched that last fight, and he makes like great, really good fighters look, you know, not as good as him basically. I think Ilia probably do well against him, to be honest, but I think Volk he's just like on another level at the minute.
And what do you think? You know, when you see Volkanovski going to different divisions as well as featherweight, does that make you feel? You know, how do you feel about that?
I think it's great that he's out there challenging himself, trying to, just chasing greatness, trying to be a featherweight champion and a lightweight champion. And the lightweight fight when he fought against Islam was really close. He did really well, and I'd be excited to see the rematch as well if he chooses to take that.
How do you think the rematch will go down if they do?
I think maybe Volt gets the win, because he was really close last time, but you can never say, because Islam might work on something else and then come out there and get the win. But it's a really close matchup, and it was a great fight. I'm really excited to watch that again.
Thank you.
George, down here. I know you've been training at K-Star Legacy in Quinton with the Muay Thai coach Damien Trainer. How much has he helped refine your striking on the lead up to this fight?
Yeah, my striking coaches like Damien is one of them, and Damien and Joby. Damien, I've been working with him for a couple of years now. And he's got a vast experience of Muay Thai. He's trained travelled all over the world, fought all over the world, and he's given me some of that experience, and it's helped me improve my game immensely.
Is that somewhere in this fight with Fares that you feel you hold a big advantage?
Yeah. Fares has got the kickboxing background, but I've got a good. I'm just a good striker anyway. I fought guys who were boxers, kickboxers before they started MMA, and I've beat them. Stopped them. So it makes no difference to me. I'm going there to get the win.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Cheers, bro. Sweet.
Great.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Noniin. Täällä ollaan. Janella tuli palautetta, että mun ääntä voisi vähän laittaa kovemmalle. Me laitetaan. Toki kun mä normaalisti puhun hirveän lujaa, mutta kun mä oon tämmönen koreili ja aha, sieltä tuleekin sitten Fili saman tien. Loistavaa. Hoidetaan se. Mä häivyn linjoilta taas chatin puolella.
Okay, the reason I got you guys here today, I want to talk about something very serious. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. I just wanted to see your guys' reaction, but there wasn't much of one. You guys had a long day, huh?
Andre, to your left.
Yeah.
How are you? I believe this is your first fight in front of a crowd since January 2020.
Yeah.
Is that correct? Yeah, so how's it feel? I know it's quote-unquote enemy territory, but how does it feel to be fighting in front of a crowd again?
I haven't put too much thought into the fact that it's enemy territory. I'm just excited to fight in a big cage, big arena, big show, all that excitement that fans bring. It's enemy territory, I guess, because he's from here and I'm not. But to me, like if you're a fan that pays your hard-earned money to support what we do, then I don't know, you're not an enemy. Like if you show up and you boo me, you're still giving energy to what we're doing, and you're still taking part in this thing that we do. So I'm excited to fight in front of a crowd again, whether they're rooting for me or not. It's exciting.
And at this point in your career, do you like the travel and stuff like that, or you rather fight close to home?
I'd rather fight close to home probably, but if I have the choice, but I've gotten to do that so many times that it's nice to kind of switch things up and mix things up a little bit, and be able to explore a new part of the world with my team, my girlfriend, and people that I love, and have some new experiences and some new places. And after I win this fight Saturday, I'm going to go to explore a little bit, go to Rome and see some great historical stuff. I'm a history nerd, so to be able to go see some historical stuff might come as a surprise to you guys, but there's not a lot of history in Northern California. I love Northern California, but there's not a lot of coliseums and old buildings and history. So it's cool to be in Europe and see all these old buildings and see all this history, and it's been a great experience. So yeah, as much as I'd like to fight close to home, that's nice. It's also a beautiful experience to travel the world and get to do what you love.
And I know you said you didn't pay too much mind to the whole enemy territory thing, but you have excelled before. You've beaten Felipe Arantes in Brazil, Mowgli Benitez in Mexico. So is there part of it that maybe
I beat Artem in Poland, which is close enough. Like whatever, you know.
Yeah. So it's part of you kind of thrive in that position, maybe.
Yeah, it's just a fight, you know. Like I've done this so long, and you know, there's still always going to be nerves and excitement, and but I've done this for so long, and I've been doing this is my whole life. This is my whole career. This is what I am, you know. So it doesn't matter where we're at or who's watching or whatever is going on outside the cage. There's just me and him in the cage, and as long as I perform the way I know I can perform it, nothing else really matters.
And Nathaniel is 2-0 since moving up to featherweight. Was he on your radar at all?
Yeah, I mean, I was aware of him. He's a great fighter. He's you know, he came up from 35, and he was good at 35 as well too. Yeah, he's a great fighter, and I look forward to testing myself against him.
One last one from me. There's been a lot of debate on who the featherweight GOAT is. Wanted to get your opinion on who you think the greatest featherweight of all time is.
I would say Artem Lobov. I beat him, so you're looking at him.
Thank you.
No, Jose Aldo is the answer for me. Jose Aldo is the answer for me. Jose Aldo's on my Mount Rushmore. I think Jose Aldo is an incredible fighter, once in a lifetime fighter. He's incredible. I think you gotta throw Max Holloway's name in there too. Shout out to Max Holloway. I love the dude. He's a great person, and he was a great champion. And also out of respect to Volk, because Volk has been doing some really special things. It's been cool to see everything that Volk has accomplished. So, yeah, I mean, those are all, like, everyone that's a 45er is my competition, but I don't have any, like, jealousy or envy. Like, that's not a trait that I have. Like, I'm focused on myself. So I can look at someone like Volk and, like, it's really cool to see what he's done. Holloway I consider a friend, and I loved seeing Holloway win fights and do well. But to me, the GOAT at 45 is Aldo. It'll always be Aldo.
Andre, this year is the UFC's 30th.
Yeah.
You've been in the UFC for a third of that. I think in October it'll be 10
Well, I'm going to head out.
It'll be 10 years.
Yeah.
What's the secret to being able to stick around on the sport's biggest stage for that long?
I don't know. It's a good question. It's like people have asked me about that 10-year mark. I think September is 10 years. People have asked me about that 10-year mark a lot this weekend. And it's a weird thing. Like, it doesn't feel like 10 years. You just wake up one day and you've been doing it for 10 years. I think the secret is just really doing what you love, being passionate about what you love, staying young at heart. I'm also a student. I'm always learning. Like, I learn from guys who are younger than me. I learn from guys who are older than me. I learn from guys who are retired. I learn from guys who aren't even in the UFC yet. I learn from everyone. I'm a student, and I don't think of myself like this 10-year veteran. I'm not, like, in my head when I think of myself, I'm not a 33-year-old guy who's done this forever and has all the answers and has been through everything twice. I'm still 23. I'm still new. I still have a lot to prove. I'm still excited and young. And this is my mentality. Like, I don't feel 33. I don't feel like a 10-year veteran. I don't feel like a guy who's done everything. Like, I feel like a young, hungry kid. Like, I love this shit. I think when you do what you love, you could do it forever, you know? And, I've said this a few times this weekend. Like, Jim Miller looks the best he's ever looked. Dustin Poirier looks the best he's ever looked. Glover Teixeira just won a belt at 42. Like, you guys might be stuck with me for another 10 years, dude. I'm not going anywhere. Like, I've been in the UFC 10 years, but I'm only 33. Like, you guys are stuck with me. And I love the sport. I ain't going anywhere. So I think that's part of it, you know? Part of the longevity is just that I really love this shit, and there's nothing else I would rather do.
So over the course of those 10 years, what's been the biggest change you've seen in the sport, and what's been the biggest change you've seen in yourself over that period of time?
The biggest change I've seen in the sport is the UFC really stepping the game up and getting the PI set, and like the PI nutritionist. So shout out to Charles. He's incredible, man. He's my nutritionist from the PI. the PI does, they handle not handle because you're the one that still has to do the work, but they set you up for success in every step. Like, they'll help you with your food, they'll help you with your supplements, they'll help you with your sleep routine. The amount of resources that fighters have now is incredible. That's the one and only time that I feel like the old guy. When the young guys get to the UFC, and I'm like, back in my day when we cut weight, we had to die, we had to do this, we had to do that. And now when guys cut weight, it's like a streamlined process because the UFC has the PI and the PI nutritionists and strength conditioning coaches and all the resources. It's just huge. It's a beautiful thing to see. And I think the UFC has done something really special with the PI and the resources for fighters. So that's the biggest advancement in the sport. The biggest advancement for myself is just the personal growth. Obviously you get better at fighting. I've been doing this for 10 years. I'm a more technical fighter everywhere. But that's not the biggest growth. The biggest growth for me has been my relationship with myself. When I first got in the UFC, I pushed myself in a way that I think was important to get here, but it's not sustainable for 10 years. It's not sustainable for a long, healthy career. It's not sustainable for a happy, healthy life. I pushed myself in a way where I never stopped to pat myself on the back. I never appreciated myself. My inner dialogue to myself was always harsh. I was never kind to myself. I hated myself at a certain point. And I don't know if it's age or wisdom or some of the things I've been practicing, like gratitude journals and these exercises. I could be a combination of all of them, but I've grown in a way where I love myself, and even being able to say that in a room full of people is something that at any other point in my life, I would have never been able to say that. So that's been a huge growth for me, and I think it's affected my life outside of fighting immensely, but it's also immensely positively affected my life in fighting, because as much as you need to push yourself and as much as you need to be hard on yourself and be disciplined and always demand more from yourself and have a little chip on your shoulder and be angry and all these things that make you a great fighter, it's also really important to love yourself and to take care of yourself and to treat yourself with kindness. And that's something I wasn't even able to do until recently, and it's a game changer.
Thanks for sharing that. And just one more from me, just to get back to the actual fight itself. You look at Nathaniel Wood as an opponent. You say he's come up from bantamweight, obviously, and he was doing okay at bantamweight, as you said. What do you see as an opponent, and where do you see your skills sort of matching up in the cage?
He's tough. He's aggressive. He's a dynamic striker. He's a high-level fighter. I think everyone at this level, at this day and age in MMA, is going to bring a complete, well-rounded game, and I would say the same for him. He's tough. He's got great boxing. He's got great low kicks. He trains with Brad Pickett, I believe. He's obviously got a wealth of experience. Brad Pickett's a legend, and he's got him in his corner. I've got Danny Castillo, who's another legend. It's like, this is the game now. Like, we're all dudes who are good at everything. We've got veterans of the sport in our corner, and we're going to put on a show for you guys.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Andre, just over here. You've been in there with some of the best in the division. Where do you see your strengths in this fight?
I think I'm better everywhere, to be completely honest. I think I'm a better striker. I'm a better grappler. I don't know how much of that you'll see. I think it's going to be a pretty exciting striking battle. Bit of a pissing contest probably, because the crowd will be cheering and he'll want to put on a show and I'll want to put on a show. But I just think I match up. I match up. The way that I'm built like an alien. I'm 5'11". I got 74-inch reach. I got long, skinny legs. I'm a creature, I'm built for fighting. I got crazy. My feet are like, I wear a size 13 shoe. Like, I'm built to fight. I'm built to throw head kicks. I'm built to throw body kicks. I'm built to throw punches. I match up well with everyone in this division. Like, there isn't a 45 where I don't match up with, and this is no exception. It's going to be really exciting.
And you were forced out of your last fight in February due to emergency eye surgery. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's just a little freak accident thing in training, no big deal. Like, it sounds worse than it is. Emergency eye surgery sounds like worse than it is. Was no big deal. Just a little freak accident type thing in training. kind of a blessing in disguise. It's just a reminder, like, what we do is dangerous sometimes. You know, you gotta treat it for what it is. Like, you get used to just clocking in and out of your job. You go to training, you go home, but it's not. It's a little reminder that what we do can be dangerous, and you got to treat it with respect and appreciation. And in a way, it was a blessing in disguise, because I don't think there's ever been a period where I had a 3-month period where I had to just, like, go slow, like, settle my ass down, and if I wanted to train, it had to be slow technique, you know. And so it was really good for me. My body got to heal up, and you know, everything is about how you frame it, right? So yeah, I had a little emergency surgery, but the surgery was a success, and I got to spend 3 months working on technique, and it was really good for me, and my body got to heal up, and I feel great.
And you mentioned Volkanovski as one of the GOATs in the division.
Yeah.
What did you think about his performance against Yair? Obviously, Yair is someone that you've been in there with.
Yeah, I thought it was incredible. I think Yair is an incredibly dangerous guy. I know from experience. It's another fight I would love to run back. Yair is an incredible fighter, and I thought the way that Volkanovski fought him was exactly how you have to fight him. You saw Frankie Edgar do it a few years before. I think Volkanovski did even better. I think Volkanovski's from a technical standpoint, like, a really special fighter, and you got to give credit where credit's due. And he has immense talent, and he's it's impressive the way that he sticks to game plans, the way he's able to implement game plans. When Volkanovski fights, the thing I respect about it the most is it doesn't seem to be that much chaos. Like, this sport is so chaotic. Being in a cage locked in with another dude can be so chaotic. So would you see him fight the way he fights, where he seems to be in real control for a lot of the fight? It's very impressive. So yeah, shout out to him.
How do you think he does against Ilia Topuria, if that is next?
That's exciting, man. Topuria is really, really good. Topuria's got very, very good boxing, from the very good defensive wrestling from the looks of it. So hard to bet against Volk at this point, you know. But Topuria is tough. I'm not sure. To be completely honest, I learn by studying my contemporaries. I watch what they do. I take mental notes on everybody. Obviously, everyone does that. But I learn by watching, and when I watch them on fight night, like, I just watch the way everybody else would. You know, I'm not super, unless you're my teammate, you know, like Josh Emmett or Darren Elkins, I'm screaming at the TV, throwing things. I'm, like, standing up, pacing around the room. But if you're another guy at 45, I just watch like anybody else watches. So I'm not sure how that fight will go, but it'll be fun to watch.
And last one, you mentioned Max Holloway, and again, someone that you've been in there with.
Yeah.
He's got a fight coming up against the Korean Zombie. How do you think that goes down?
Yeah, Max all the way. Max, yeah. If Max is fighting, I'm rooting for him. That's the homie. I got a lot of love for Max.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Andre, you mentioned being in the UFC for nearly 10 years now. Other than, say, you know, trying to go for a belt and stuff like that, what is there left for you to kind of achieve? Is there anything kind of on the list that you want to tick off, a fight in a certain place or anything like that?
No, I've kind of, other than being a world champion, like, I'm going to be the UFC featherweight world champion. I know this in my heart. I believe this. My team believes this. I know that I have the skills to beat anyone in the world. I fought in some of the best guys in the world in close fights. Some of them I've won, some of them I lost. I'm ready to make this run and go get that belt. So that's the top of the sport. That's the checklist. To me, everything else is bonus points. It's all fun. Like, we're going to fight in England, cool. We're going to fight in Vegas, cool. We're going to fight over here, cool. We're going to fight this guy, cool. I don't have... I've let go a lot of my obsessive compulsive trying to control, like, this neurotic thing where you try to make everything fit. You just take things as they come, man. Like, you do your best, and you be present in the moment, and you take things for what they are, and everything works out. So for me, it's like, I'm going to be a world champion. This is the goal. This is what I'm going to manifest into reality, and all the details leading up to it, they'll come as they come, and I'll deal with them as they are.
And I'm a fan of a really good pun, and your nickname is one of my favourite
You like
nicknames
that
in
one,
the
huh?
UFC. I'm a big fan of it. Is there a story behind it, or is it just a good pun?
I mean, it's a good pun, but it's also just that, like, you know, I'm a feeler. Like, I'm a sensitive guy. I'm not the typical fighter guy. Like, I'll cry at a movie. You know what I mean? I'm very affectionate, and like, Megan O'Leary gave me that, actually. Joe B's wife. Yeah, she started calling me that, and it just stuck instantly. And if you like a good pun, you got to talk to Michael Malott, because that guy's a machine, dude. Walk around with Mike Malott for like. He's in my corner this weekend. He's one of my best friends in fighting, man. He's a great person. It's my brother. Talk to Michael Malott for about 10 minutes, and you'll get 10 puns. Like, he's a machine. I've never seen anything like it. I'm not a pun guy, but that guy lives for it. For it.
I'll have to do that.
World-class pun guy, yeah.
Well, just off the back of you saying about the kind of emotional side of things, is there a movie that makes you cry a lot?
What movie doesn't? Dude,
the beginning of Up, maybe, or
Up, break your heart, dude. La La Land. Have you seen La La Land?
I have, yeah.
I'll put my fucking head through the wall, dude. Oh God, La La Land. What else? Babe, what's another movie that we watched recently? We just watched one, and I was like, "What was the movie we just watched in theaters?" Oh, Spider-Verse? Dude, I watched... Dude, all the Miles Morales family stuff? Dude, I'm a huge comic book guy. My office in my house is just like, one wall is just every like, video game system I've ever owned. Like, I have my PS1 from 1996, the first PS1 I ever got. So I have PS1 through 5. I have a Super Nintendo, a Sega Genesis. That's one wall, and then the rest of the walls are just covered in, like, they're just comic book shelves for comic books. So I'm a huge comic book guy. So I was gonna go watch Spider-Verse anyways. I'm a huge Marvel guy. I was gonna go watch people say, oh, I'm a huge Marvel guy because they like watch the movies. That's cool, but like, I have a room dedicated to comic books. So like, I'm a huge Marvel guy and a huge DC guy and a huge Image Comics guy, and just comics in general. And so I was gonna go watch Spider-Verse anyways. But it had no business making me cry the way that it did. Because it's a fucking cartoon. It should not have made me cry the way it did.
Yeah, love it. Thanks very much, man.
Thank you. Anybody? We're done? Good? I don't want to talk to you guys anyways. Just kidding. Thank you, guys.
No niin, siinä oli Andrea Fili ja hän kyllä mukavasti rennolla otteella hoisi oman osuutensa ja avasikin vähän omaa persoonaansa. Tällaista on kivempi kuunnella kuin semmoista tyhjänpäiväistä uhoamista. Mä palaan tuohon, ketä sen kysymyksen heitti tuossa aikaisemmin. Masanteri kyseli tuosta amatöörien painonvedosta, niin se on hyvä, että punnitukset on ottelupäivänä, niin jengi ei pääse vetämään niin paljon painoa, ja sitten muutenkin se niin kilpailuiden järjestäminen se on paljon helpompaa, kun ei tarvitse erikseen järjestää punnitusta edellisenä päivänä. Jotkut vetää jonkin verran painoa, mutta ei aika harva sitten, ainakaan ketään tämmöisissä niin Suomen sisäisissä salikisoissa, mitä isoja painonvetoja nähdään. Toki jotkut voi sitten niin kuin pidemmällä aikavälillä polttaa rasvaa, mutta se ei ole sitä painonvetämistä, että se on varmaan sitten pysyvämpää painonhallintaa sitten ehkä enemmän. Arvokilpailuissa, missä otellaan sitten useampana päivänä putkeen, niin jos vedetään kovia painonvetoja, niin sehän, että sä vedät eka 5 kiloa painoa ja sitten me tottelee, ja sitten pitäisi seuraavan päivänä vetää se 5 kiloa painoa taas, niin se on kyllä todella kuluttavaa, se harvoin tuottaa tulosta. Et kyllä se kannattaa niinku amatöörinä pitää se paino lähellä ottelupainoa, tai otella lähellä sitä painoa, mitä painat. Sanotaan ehkä niin päin. Ja keskittyä siihen taitoon ja ottelukokemukseen ja otella usein. Ja sekin on itse asiassa tärkeää, että jos ei tarvitse hirveästi vedellä painoa, niin pystyy ottelemaan vaikka joka viikko tai ainakin joka kuukausi, niin saa niitä matseja, kun se matsit on se kaiken ajan. No niin, ja nyt tulee maailma.
Is allowed to speak or no? No? Okay.
Hey, Molly, over here.
Hello, darling.
How are you?
I'm absolutely brilliant, thank you.
How's fight week been for you so far?
Do you know what? I'm not sure if you have felt the calm, but I feel like this is the calmest UFC I've probably ever been a part of. Like, the hotel's calm. There's not a lot of, there's no one here. We're just being able to relax. And I think it's my 4th UFC London, so it feels very much like I'm back at home.
Is that refreshing in a way?
Yeah, it is. I really like being here. I really like London. I like the vibe, and yeah, it's nice to not be very apprehensive all the time when you don't know the layout. You just sometimes fight weeks are hectic, and I think when Patrick's here, sometimes everyone wants to fight him before we even get in the cage. So there's a lot of madness always, but not this time.
Yeah, and obviously your last one didn't go your way. What was kind of the biggest takeaway from that fight?
Just, I had the best fight camp of my life. I brought in amazing training partners. I levelled up, and I think I just didn't get what I thought I deserved. I got the worst outcome I've ever received in a fight, to be honest. So I went away. I took time off. I kind of had to reset because I feel like I'd been on this very high trajectory. It was very fast. It was a lot to have to deal with for any human. And I just had to ground myself a bit and just realise my whole world isn't fighting. I think you'll all know that fighters live and breathe for this. And sometimes you get consumed and it's just, I've got to do this, I've got to do this, I've got to do this. And you don't feel like you can say no, and you can turn things down, and sometimes you're running on zero. I'm going to kill you, Liam McCourt, Cardi B. And yeah, I feel like Erin's a stud, isn't she? I don't think any of us really knew the level of her, and I think watching her win her next fight was it was like a little bit easier for me to take the blow as what I did. But look, I had to walk through a lot after that fight personally. Like, I had to deal with just the loss and grieve the loss and just bounce back. I think you all know after I've lost, I do normally come back on a couple of big fight win streaks. So.
And does it kind of light a fire under you? Because I know fans sometimes in the sport can be a little bit fickle when a fighter comes off of a loss. So has that kind of lit a fire under you?
I think I've really learned to understand that I won't take the fans' praise or the hatred. Like, the praise won't make me perform better, and the hatred doesn't. I don't need to be emotional and I'm going to prove them wrong, because when I go to sleep at night, who's next to me? It's my fiancé. Who's there? It's me and my own brain. So I think I've just got over that bit, and it is overwhelming. Do you know what I mean? Like, no one's taught how to kind of navigate through these bits, but again, I feel like you'll all notice when fighters become a bit more experienced, they're able to just park that bus and don't need to get on that bus anymore. Do you know what I mean? So that's been a big learning curve for me, and it's a lot easier on the mental when you don't look at comments and you don't have to go there. Do you know what I mean? Because some of the stuff that you read, honestly, you don't know because you've been around the sport, and obviously you see the comments that come through. But for me, when Valentina lost to Alexa, the hate she got online, I thought that's one of the best who's ever graced. Or when Amanda lost to Pena once, the hate, I was just like, what's going on here? But the internet's just horrific at the minute, no matter if it's sport, politics, life, anything. There's no positive in it, so I just think, don't even go there. Do you know what I mean?
And is it extra special that you get a chance to rebound in the UK co-main event?
That was him. I didn't even know until like Tuesday that was a thing. So that was, if you know, like, it's big for me. Do you know what I mean? I think my career has been very much like people's real life. Do you know what I mean? The highest highs, the lowest lows, and just trying to show resilience to keep on pushing through. And I'm the most calm I've ever been. I'm the most relaxed I've ever been. And I really hope that I watched Macy and Amanda the other week, and they was the co-main, and they got a lot of hate, like they shouldn't be co-main, and they gave the fight of the night, in my opinion. And I'd like to make sure that me and Juliana do exactly the same. And I don't think I've ever had a rubbish minute in that O2 arena. Do you know what I mean? I've given my whole life every minute in that arena and nearly lost an eye and an elbow. So I think I'm very excited and grateful.
One last one from me. Julia's making her flyweight debut. What are you expecting out of her?
We signed for this fight on the 24th of February, and it was supposed to be on June 10th. I'm not sure if she told you that before. So we was told about it maybe like the 5th, like round about Valentine's Day. It's nearly 5 months. That is a long time to be prepared. I am so light. I'm like eating carbs. I was downstairs having toast with my eggs from the PI. Do you know what I mean? So I'm in the shape of my life. I believe she'll be in the shape of her life. She's not coming here just for a paycheck. She's not coming here to make up the numbers. She believes that she's going to take a win home, and I expect the hardest part about this fight camp for myself and her will have been to stay on it, because that's a long time. So making sure that we've both periodised correctly is going to be really important. And I can't wait to see what she's got. I heard her saying she took 40 featherweight fights just to get them. Apparently she's never had a problem really making weight the last few times for bantam, which I don't know how true that is, but we'll see tomorrow on the scales, won't we? I wish her a happy weight cut, a good refuel, and a brilliant night tomorrow, Saturday.
Thank you.
Molly, you just mentioned there about Julia's weight cuts in the past, and a lot of the narrative that I've been listening to up to this fight has been, she's struggled at 135 before. Making 125 that's a bit of a risk for her. How is it affecting you, and have you thought about how you'd react or proceed forward if she does miss weight?
I haven't really thought about it too much, because if we're all being honest, I'm one of the lighter flyweights, and everyone kind of looks like a bantamweight who I fight anyway. They're all 5 inches taller and normally have like an 8-inch reach on me, so I can't see too much being a difference. I don't know, will she be a bit more drained because it's been a long time for her to cut weight? Or did you see the state of me at my UFC debut and what my body shape looked like? And then when I took my nutrition serious, because I had the help, I'm a completely different athlete. So that could have been the kick up the arse for her to give her what she needs to be, who she needs to be. But I can't focus on her and what she's about. I've just got to stay tunnel vision and doing my bit on Saturday night. And that's all I've really thought about, mate.
So, also, I think there's Andre Muniz, who is a ranked middleweight, and then there's 2 ranked bantamweights fighting on this card. I think the bantamweights are on the prelims of this, but you are the co-main event. How much pride do you take that you've achieved so much popularity with the fans, but also with the UFC, that they see you as someone they're very happy to push high up a card and to provide them with great fights? Does that give you a sense of pride? Yeah, absolutely. And it's making sure that I know I deserve it. I know like there's been a lot of controversy over it. But this is my 11th fight in the UFC. I've nearly given me eyesight to this company. I've broken bones, torn ligaments. I give every interview that I can. I do everything to represent this company to the best of my ability. And I think it's about time. And I remember when I got the main card last March, Hunter, I sat next to him before Patrick walked out, and he went, "It was my decision to do this. I'm so made up." And then in the July fight, again, when I won, I sat next to him, and he was like, the crowd wasn't popping until you came out. Thank you very much. And I'm kind of kill or be killed, aren't I? Like, my fights aren't boring. I just try to be a fan favourite, and I think I will be that. I am that, and I'll show that on Saturday. And I haven't really thought about it too much, because, I don't know, my last performance, I was living my dream, and I was thinking about too much about the dream, do you know what I mean? And I'd done the same at UFC Liverpool, thinking about too much. Oh, I've done it. I haven't got the win yet, so I'm as good as my last performance in the eyes of the public, and that was fucking pony. So best little meatball, throw some elbows on Saturday night. Looking forward to it. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Molly, over to your left. Hiya.
Hi,
just to circle back to something that you were talking about earlier, like that run you had in 21, 22, your career was going at like 100 miles an hour. And now you're saying how calm things are this week, and things maybe are slowing down a little bit. Is that also reflected in how you're seeing things as a fighter? Is the sport slowing down for you and obviously helping you as a result?
Do you know what? After that fight, I took, like I said, I can't even come in the gym. Like, I was that sore. I took 2 months out, and I didn't know if I'm not going to do this if I don't believe that I can achieve something, because it's too hard. And I took 2 months out, and I've realised what's important to me, and it's my friends and my family, and my family really are my gym family. Do you know what I mean? They're there for me through everything. And I got engaged on New Year's Eve/New Year's Day. And then from that moment, me and Ellis bought a house, and then I got a business. And then I was training, obviously, all the way through. But I got asked to fight on UFC London in March. I said, I'm not ready. And I would have never have said that before. But I was just like, I just need to be Molly. I just need to not have to be like Meatball all the time and be like, yo, what's happening, people? Like, I need to live just for a minute. Do you know what I mean? Since I've been in front of you all, like, I'm 100 miles an hour. I give fucking every single piece of my energy to use and to the crowd and to the fans. And I just needed to live. And what I've realised is I've got my roots in my home. I've got a steady income in my business. I've got a steady income in my sponsorship and my company. And that settled me. And I think when your central nervous system's calm, you're not always on fight or flight. You're not always anxious. And you can't walk down streets sometimes where I live because people are just flocking to you. So it's quite hard, do you know what I mean? But like we say, at 11 fights in now, you're right, I can see clear vision what's being asked of me. I've got the coping tools and mechanisms to handle this and not exert too much and give you what you need, but still keep what I need. And I really, really believe that you can make more correct decisions when you're like that. Like, if you look at me last win, which was a year ago at UFC London, my eyes look like a woman possessed walking to that cage. When I was in there, I was just dialed in, and I feel like I'm there again, but better, if you know what I mean.
And looking at different fighters across the sport, some of them walk out to pumping heavy metal music, some of them walk out to gangster rap. You walk out to a song that's basically a love letter to your home city. Yeah. It's not a stereotypical walkout song. Mm-hmm. What does that song mean to you? Because you always get very emotional when you walk out to it.
And I feel like I'm cry just talking about it.
You're belting it out every time. Mm-hmm. But I think people sort of can relate to that as well. So I just wanted to ask what that song and what, you know, being able to walk out to that means to you.
Obviously, Jamie Webster's a great friend of mine, and there's a few of us who are so patriotic. The Brazilians are the same, the Irish are the same, Scousers are the same, Mexicans are the same, Americans are the same, but I think it's a little bit different with the Americans. I feel like we have this fighting spirit because we're so oppressed as a city or a nation, and in that song it kind of just unites that, like, the qualities of us as, like, we're not a different race, but Scousers are different beings, aren't we? We're a little bit nuts. So everything Jamie says in that song, I just feel in my bones and in my essence. And sometimes the walkouts for the crowds, and I think when I changed the walkout for myself, it helped me develop my own fighting style because I wasn't just a lunatic. But Jamie Webster's got another song that is equally amazing for Scousers, and I'm actually walking out to that with a little bit of Everton in the mix. So because Paddy's not on, I've got to make sure that the walkout tune's up there on Saturday night. So I've got the skyline tattooed on my ankle of Liverpool. I've got my people, my city, my heart tattooed on me. So no matter where I go, my city comes with me everywhere, and it'll be the same on Saturday night.
Brilliant, thanks a lot.
No problem.
Hey Molly, to your right. You were saying earlier that you're in the best shape of your life. You also said that on Instagram yesterday. Have you changed anything specifically about your training or your diet to get to that point?
My nutrition and strength and conditioning is Vortex. It's Paul Reed and Carl Evans. And this camp, Carl works with the boxers and Paul Reed works with the MMA fighters. But I've just been going over with the MMA lot a little bit more. That's the only difference that I can really say, lads. And other than, this has been 5 months. Do you know what I mean? This has been 5 fucking months. That is a long time. I cheated on my diet once at Paddy Pimblett's wedding. Do you know what I mean? And that was about it. I've stayed committed. I believe it. Look, I've been on sorry, my eyes watering from when I broke it 3 years ago. I've been really committed. Every time I lose, you see it with every fighter, you just bite down and you give more and you try to level up in a different way. And I think that's what I've tried to do my best. Not that I would ever cheat on anything ever, but I don't know. I've tried.
You mentioned as well that the internet is horrific when it comes to subjects like sport and politics. You've always been quite outspoken about your political views. I was wondering what your thoughts were on some of the current issues of the day, like the cost of living crisis, government plans to turn refugee boats around.
I think, lad, I think no human is an illegal alien, do you know what I mean? I don't think like any human deserves to be turned away when they flee in war and famine and prosecution for something they've not done. I'm Labour through and through. Support the unions, I back the unions, I stand with the unions. Keir Starmer is not a good guy in the Labour's books at the minute. Rishi Sunak is scum of the earth to this country. And I don't know. I think if you read online, like it gets broken down quite a lot when you tax like inheritance, when you tax the super rich 1 or 2%, the money is there for the majority. And I side more with socialism, and I know that doesn't make a country and an economy sometimes can't run off that, and the ideology is more better in principle than it is in reality. But I just don't understand how the left is now gearing to the right. So it's hard. I've really tried not to look at too much politics a lot at the minute, because I feel like for every single country in this room, they are failing us. Like the governments in every country is just not doing the right things at the minute.
Thanks, Molly. All the best.
No problem. I probably get more hate for that than any in this week, to be fair. Go on, lad.
Yeah, I'm just asking about the mural that was unveiled a couple of months back.
Mm-hmm.
Paddy.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on it, and how did you go out of your way to drive past it?
The mural, I'm not sure if anyone's seen, it's a massive me and Paddy mural, and it's got my sports bras in blue and his gloves in red, and there's a wide road where if you go this way it takes you to Goodison Park. I'm doing really well to stay focused with whatever's going on back there. If you go to the left, you go to Goodison Park. If you go to the right, you go to Anfield. And me and Patrick have always tried to be the bridge of the gap for the Reds and the Blues. And every run I do on a Monday after I finish my session, I run round Goodison Park and I come back to the gym. So I probably see it at least once a week. But the likeliness is uncanny. My teeth just look exactly the same, like on the side of a house, which is hilarious. Big white things in your face. And it's a proud moment, you know. The guy who done it kind of said, we're going to put a quote on, I want to put Scousers don't get knocked out. I said, you do not put that. I said, because if that happened, well, it's happened, hasn't it? It's happened, so we don't want to just be made trolls of. But I said, it's our people, it's our city. It needs to say something about that, do you know what I mean? So it's like our city, our people, our heart. And if there's a few people who walk around that city who personify Scousers and put them first and foremost, and I definitely think we're two of them. So I was really proud of that. Thank you.
Molly, was there a part of you after your last fight against Erin that wanted your next fight to be against another grappler just to kind of silence the doubters?
People like give me hell for this matchup. And what I'd like to say to you all is, have you ever seen me turn down a fight? I broke my eyeball, my eye socket, a couple of years ago. 9 weeks later, I was fighting. I was 3-1 underdog. Every single fight, I've never, stylistically, I don't get to choose. I don't say no. I give you the company gives to me. I say yes, thank you very much, and I try my absolute best. So some people can say whatever they want, but I'm just here trying to be the best me that I can be. And I never underestimated Erin Blanchfield, but she's just a killer, isn't she? She's going to absolutely, I think she'll be the the world champ for a very long time at whatever weight she wants to go at, to be honest with you, because she's just got the perfect style to kill everyone's style. But the fight before that, the girl was a grappler. Or the fights before that, if you can't stand with me, like, people will just hold me and take me down anyway. So I don't feel like game plans really change for me. It's just normally length and reach. But I don't know, to knock another grappler out, or to maybe even submit one, I hope it wouldn't even matter, you know, actually, lad, because people would still say, she's a black belt, Hodja Gracie, and if I dismantled her, she'd then be like, oh, well, she was a bantamweight anyway, oh, well, she struggled with the weight cut, so it doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean? We could create a narrative any which way we want, but it doesn't really matter. No problem. Am I done? Oh, you've got a question? Yeah. Go on, mate.
Yeah, you talked about like the city of Liverpool and the fans. They always seem to sort of fill up this arena and overtake the Londoners whenever you guys are on the bill. Do you expect it to be the same again?
I absolutely know it will. I sold a lot of tickets for the fight, a hell of a lot, and I know half of Dublin will be there supporting me. All the Scousers will be there for me and Shauna on Saturday night, and there'll be a sea of tricolour and a sea of, I still imagine there'll be Paddy the Baddy wigs and all the rest of it, so I absolutely cannot wait to hear that crowd. That's the thing that's been getting me through when the days are long and the sessions are hard, because I've had to train with big boys for this. Sometimes rewatching your walkout is a magical thing, and just to hear, do you know, when you're in a fight you don't actually take in the magnitude, but when I listened to my last two fights I was like, wow, that was like a lot of noise for me out there, and I can't wait for it, lad. Thanks for your time, peeps.
No niin, Mollilla oli paljon sanottavaa ja myös paljon kysyjiä. Kertoo tietenkin paljon hänen markkina-arvostaan. Yleensähän ollaan totuttu siihen, että Molly McCann huudettaa pressiäkin ja meno on villiä ja riehakasta, mutta nyt oli kyllä hyvin kypsää ja seesteistä. Ja sieltä tulee sitten seuraava ottelija Shauna Bannon.
Hey, Shauna, how are you? Obviously, a lot of attention, a lot of hype on you coming into your UFC debut. Any extra added pressure, or how does it feel to kind of have everybody kind of anticipating your debut?
Yeah, there is a lot of pressure for sure, but I love that. Do you know what I mean? It's what I'm here for, and I have the whole of Ireland backing me, and I couldn't have more support, so I'm super grateful.
And we've seen, obviously, Conor tweet about you. He's spoken about you. What does it mean to have his support? Because obviously he's been such a massive figure for Irish MMA.
Oh, it's huge. Like, to have him on board as part of my sponsorship team is like unbelievable. And he's been backing me my whole career. Like, he's always congratulating me and wishing me luck in all my fights. So for now to be in the UFC, and he's here too, and him to be on my team is it's deadly.
And I know you're 5-0 as a pro, but you have an extensive kickboxing background. You've had a lot of amateur fights. I want to go back though. What gave you the decision to kind of transition to MMA?
So it was kind of coming to the end of my days for kickboxing. I had won everything there was to win multiple times, and I wanted to go to the Olympics, but I came to the realisation it wasn't going to be in the Olympics in my time of fighting. So I transitioned to Taekwondo for a short period of time to try and go to the Olympics and that, but it didn't really suit me. I missed punching and it just wasn't for me. And then I fell into Jiu-Jitsu, and soon after I fell into MMA and I fell in love with it, and here I am now.
And obviously we know a lot about your striking. Do you come into this UFC debut hoping to show off your ground game as well, or is the knockout on your mind?
I want to knock her out.
Do you have a prediction of when you get to do it?
Second round.
Thank you.
Shauna, there's a real surge in Irish MMA at the moment. Obviously, previously, Conor was like one man kind of flying the flag, it felt like, or doing it to a certain level. Now we've got Ian Gary, we've got Rhys McKee back in the UFC after being a Cage Warriors champion, Caelan Loughran, and amongst others, Leo McCourt that was here earlier doing well. Does that make this whole goal just feel kind of did it give you more self-belief that you're seeing your countrymen and women doing so well?
Yeah, like it is an individual sport, I suppose, but I've fought with a team for my whole life. Like with kickboxing, it was always a team kind of thing. You travel with loads of people, so the more the merrier. The more of us that are putting our foot on the mat and coming out and showing everyone what we are made of is better. Like I 100% think like there's loads of Americans, loads of Brazilians. Why can't there be loads of Irish?
And we've also spoken to fighters previously about the nerves that set in making that UFC walk for the first time, hearing Bruce Buffer say their name, and they say they weren't planning on, they didn't think they were going to be nervous, but it all felt different. Have you put anything in place in this camp to try and potentially combat any feelings of potentially being slightly overwhelmed when it gets to fight night and you've got the bright lights, the O2 and Bruce Buffer and all those kind of things?
Yeah, like 100% there's going to be pressure and it will be overwhelming, and you feel that in every fight, and I think if you don't feel that, you're not human, you know. But that's what makes me perform. If I was to go out and not have those little bit of nerves and butterflies in my stomach, I wouldn't perform my best. That's all part of it, and that's what makes me Mama B.
Thank you.
Shauna, over to your left. Hiya. Being a pro fighter is an incredible commitment in order to get to the big stage, but being a mum is a different level, right? So how do you balance both?
It's hectic, for sure. But like, if I come home from my morning session and I'm wrecked, exhausted, and I get to look at Jace, he brightens up my day and he motivates me and he gets me going for my second session of the day. I think I have the best of both worlds. Some people work a 9-to-5 job and don't get to see their kids for the full day. The morning I drop Jace to creche, get my morning session in, come back, get to spend the whole afternoon and evening with him before my evening session. So I think I have the best of both worlds. It is super tiring and it is tough, but it's great. I get to see him and his developments and each stage of him coming up. So, yeah, I think I have the best of both.
And in terms of getting ready for your debut, you've got like Molly's on this card. I mean, have you had the opportunity to actually talk to her and pick her brains ahead of your debut, and has she given you any advice ahead of it?
Yeah, of course. Like I train with Molly over a year now. I go over to her and she comes over to me. So I don't even need to ask her. It's like she knows what's on my mind. She's like reassuring me the whole week. She's letting me know things that I didn't know. She's like, your food's here, this is there. Do you know, because she's been here so long. So she knows the ins and outs of everything. And to have her there to reassure me is just amazing.
And in terms of the actual walk, when you actually walk through the curtain into the arena, your music's playing, you've got 10,000 people in the building. How's your mindset going to be? Are you going to try and embrace everything, or is it sort of tunnel vision?
No, that's my favourite part. Like, I hate the warm-up area. That's what I hate, the wait. And when I walk and my song comes on, that's go time. This is what I love, you know. And then when I step into the cage, that's the best part.
Brilliant. Thanks very much.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
No niin, UFC-debyyttiinsä valmistautuva Shauna Bannon kävi vetämässä ekan pressin. Sehän tosiaan keväällä voitti Minna Grusanderin Invictassa. Ja sen jälkeen sitten sai UFC-kiinnityksen. Toki hänen taustallaan vaikuttaa sitten nämä vahvat irlantilaiset voimat. Ja Conor McGregorkin tuossa mainittiin, eli taustavaikuttajat on silleen kondiksessa. Molly puhui pitkään ja Shauna Bannon ei niinkään pitkään. Mama B. Ja nyt tarkoittaa siis sellaista, että meiltä puuttuu pressistä Nathaniel Wood, Paul Gregg, Lerone Murphy, Mick Parkin ja Aspinall. Ja ollaan tultu itse asiassa aika oikeassa järjestyksessä. Näyttää sille, nyt puolelta pitäisi tulla Paul Gregg. Toivotaan, että aikataulut pitää. Oli mielenkiintoista, mitä Shauna Bannon tuossa kertoi, että hän oli vähän aikaa reenannut taekwondoa, että jos olisi päässyt olympialaisiin, kun vapaa-ottelussa sitä ei hänen aikanaan todennäköisesti voinut saavuttaa, mutta ei taekwondokaan oikein maistunut sitten ja sitten palattiin vapauttelemaan ja ammattilaisena tavoittelemaan sitten jotain muuta. Mielenkiintoista nähdä, että millä Paul Craig näyttää, kun hän tulee lehdistön eteen. Hänhän siis ensimmäistä kertaa ottelee, tai on tarkoitus otella keskisarjassa, eli 84 ja pudottaa sieltä 93 eli 9 kiloa. Noniin, se kysyy ihan sama kiva nähdä Craigin kondis nyt vastaan huomenna puntarilla. Mä luulen, että Craigin kondis voi olla nytkin jo aika kuivakka. Hänhän ei 93 ole mikään pieni millään tapaa ollut, että en tiedä mistä se paino tuohon vedetään, mutta skotlantilainen Paul Craig, hänellä on tyylikäs tapa puhua. Ja nuotti on oikein miellyttävä. Toki vahva skotlannin murre ja vahva parta. Ja hyvin tämmönen klassinen mieskauneutta edustava herrasmies. Tosiaan mun listan mukaan Paul Craigin olisi tarkoitus tulla seuraavana. No niin, Lassi Mounila, tervetuloa Lontoon kulisseihin. Siellä Hamara MMA:n toinen osapuoli. Onko heillä, Lassi, mitään uutisia, mitä haluat kertoa siitä teidän Hamaran kesätapahtumasta? Pistä siihen chattiin vaan, jos on. Eli teillä on siellä se 4 miehen G1-turnaus. Tai 1 illan 4 miehen K1 potkis turnee. No niin, sieltä tulee Paul Craig.
How you doing, Paul? Over to your left.
Hey, how you doing?
How you doing? Obviously, with the way the last 2 fights panned out for you, do you feel initially that there's a real additional pressure to win this, or are you just approaching this in exactly the same way that you would any other fight?
I think there's always a pressure to win fights. If you go in with no pressure, then you're in the wrong sport, especially MMA. What it's always about, for me anyway, it's not about the financial gain, it's about working my way to get a title. I was so close to being a title contender with having the victory over Ankalaev and Jamal Hill. MMA, one of these sports, it can, in the click of fingers, you can be up there riding high, or you can be down low. In my last 2 fights, haven't went my way. I believe that the cut to middleweight is more suited to my style as well as my frame. I was always a light heavyweight, or a middleweight pretending to be a light heavyweight, and I wasn't sure if it was achievable to get to middleweight. And then dealing with the UFC PI, it's made it more achievable. So now that I'm moved down, I believe that it's going to have a lot more opportunities for me, and especially, as you're saying, with these 2 losses, I'm looking to get that victory back.
Andre Muniz, 15 submissions. Paul Craig, 13 submissions. Is it oversimplifying it to say that this fight's going to be won and lost on the mat?
You know, it's one of these things about MMA, when you match up, and the UFC are very good at this, they normally match up guys relatively the same skill level, and they want exciting fights. You've got a southpaw in Munoz, who's a great grappler, and you've got a very exciting grappler in myself. I'm singing my own praises here, like, oh, you know, I'm a very exciting grappler. But normally what happens is when 2 grapplers get the opportunity to grapple, they turn it into a striking match. And I can see that happening. I can see that this match is going to be won in distance management. Who's got the better footwork? Who can control that open space? That's where I think this is going to be won. But in the same breath, it's MMA, and the click of fingers, it could be on the mat. I'm very effective off my back for MMA Jiu-Jitsu. So the guys in the UFC have matched this up very well.
And in terms of the drop to middleweight, in terms of being able to get down to 186 on Friday, is everything on track? Are you comfortable? Have you done test cuts leading up to this? How's how's that transition been? Because obviously 205 to 185, that's a bigger drop in weight than most other weight classes, because you normally just drop in 10 pounds, right?
Yeah, there definitely should be a weight class in between, you know, there, like maybe like a cruiserweight or something. But the cut itself has been pretty good. We've hit all the numbers we needed to hit. As I said, we went to the UFC PI who done all the testing. Testing's fine when it's a case of looking on a sheet of paper and being like, yep, in theory, you can make this. So after we come back from Vegas, myself, my conditioning coach, and my nutritionist, we sat down, came up with a plan, and we done a fake weight cut. But we done a weight cut gone bad, as opposed to, it's all great when you do a weight cut and it goes nice and smoothly. What we did is we did a kind of the top end of our weight cut. So we came in a slightly heavier weight than we normally would, and we cut more than we normally would. So right now, we're ahead of where we should be, which is always a bonus. So as we sit right now, you can ask this question tomorrow, and I'll maybe be saying there'll be tears running down my face, it's too much, but right now we're flying and everything's going well.
And from a physical standpoint, in terms of like height, reach, cardio, all that sort of stuff, do you think that that's just gonna accentuate those advantages in that lower weight class? Because you know you were a big, strong 205er. You'll be a huge 185er.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons we spoke about this move. We were, as I said, playing at it, and it became more apparent when I stood across the octagon in Rio against Johnny Walker, and I could see a physical difference. We definitely were under the same beast that night. I think he was maybe like something like 7 to 8 kilograms heavier than I was, which might not seem a lot, but it's massive in the scheme of the fight world. So using my long reach, the skills that got me to the UFC in the first place, that wild triangle, that ability to take it to deep water, I think it fits better in this middleweight. And I'm expecting an exciting fight. And the same again, as I said, UFC match up so well, and that's why they've put this fight on the main card, and it's just under the co-main event where it should be.
Brilliant. And I'll ask it anyway, because I think I know what the answer is going to be. Will you tell us why you're called the Bear Jew?
Hey, I can't tell you that, my friend.
You always get asked.
I know. You've got to ask.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one day I'll be like, you know why it's called the Bear Jew?
Paul, you've become friends with Jamal Hill since your fight with him. Sadly, he's vacated the light heavyweight belt recently. I think it was an Achilles injury. He's the second light heavyweight champion in succession to do that. Obviously, Yuri Prochazka with his shoulder. What do you make of that kind of situation in the light heavyweight division now, where fighters have vacated belts? Obviously, it seems like a commendable thing to do to let the division carry on, but equally, are they potentially going to miss out on, I don't know, maybe like pay-per-view points or something else in the future? Is it something you would do, and is it something you think is a good thing that they're allowing the divisions to move forward by vacating?
You know, as a good and a bad thing. As a champ, you're the champ until you're beat. And the current light heavyweight champ, and John Jones, he's not been beat. The King's away, he's away doing his other thing, and all these other guys are scrambling to get the title. It's a bit of a shame that Jamal Hill has dropped the belt, because that was although I've moved to middleweight, I'm going to jump between two. If the fights are at light heavyweight, I'll go to light heavyweight. If the fights are at middleweight, I'll go there. So that kind of puts a spanner in my work, because a couple of fights, and I'd still believe that, and there's opportunities to get a victory. And because I've got that victory over Jamal Hill, there's still that opportunity to get that fight. Him vacating the title just puts that a wee bit further away, out of reach. What I think's potentially going to happen with the belt is you're probably going to get the winner of Blachowicz versus Pereira, and then they'll fight against probably Ankalaev for the actual title, and then I'll slide in again, just the sneaky Scot right in there. The boogeyman will come in, and then he'll take the belt off whoever's got it.
Have you spoken to Jamal since he has had to vacate?
I haven't, but I seen he was in getting some operation, and he's tough, he's young, he's got good people around about him. He was the champion, so he'll have the best care possible, and I hope the guy has a speedy return.
And in terms of your new division, middleweight, There's a very surprising fight recently between Dricus du Plessis and Robert Whittaker, or surprising to a lot of people that Dricus won. What did you make of that fight and Dricus's performance?
Yeah, like Bobby Knuckles is a guy for me. I always thought he would be the champ if Izzy wasn't about. But for some reason, like, it's maybe just too little, too late for him. Maybe it's coming at the end of his time. But it was a wild fight, and du Plessis is just wild. The way he steps forward, I'm not going to say he's not got great technique, but when you look at Adesanya and how he moves and how he sets up strikes, they're crisp, they're well thought out. Whereas I think the way du Plessis fights is probably how you're going to beat Adesanya. That crazy, that wild, that sort of rushing forward, that grappling ability, the ability to drag him to the mat. So it's exciting times in that division because you're going to see a little bit of movement. And I'm glad to be kind of in the mix with these guys. A victory on Saturday night would put me in the title contention, not in the title contention, but in the top 10. Then I'd be looking to get these kind of fights and definitely moving forward to get closer up to that ranking.
So would you pick Izzy to beat Dricus or the other way around?
I think Izzy's going to drop his belt. That's what I think. I just think he likes people to kind of play into his game plan where he gets to do his thing. I think the way to beat him is be a wild man, and I think that's how this fight's going to go.
Right. Thanks, mate.
Just to go off of that, just over here, it's been announced that Dricus is out of the fight with Adesanya. It looks like it could be Sean Strickland next. What's your opinion on that matchup?
Yeah, that's fun, isn't it? I think everybody's excited for that. I seen a video with Sean sparring with two teammates in the octagon. That's pretty much the guy. I'd love to fight against Sean. I think it would be an amazing fight. I like the fact that he stands there and he's ready to fight. He wants to stand in the middle of the octagon and fight. Does he have the ability to beat Izzy? I can't see it. I can't see it going any other way other than Izzy. I think his style, I can't see it going any other way.
Thank you.
Easy as that?
Paul. So, if I'm correct, you are a vegan, aren't you? Is that correct?
Well, to go to middleweight, one of the things we had to actually introduce was animal proteins, because the reduction in calories meant it was going to be really, really hard to get it only from plant-based. So, for part of this fight camp, we've had to introduce animal proteins, and so it's not meat, but it's eggs and cheese and that kind of stuff.
And how have you adapted to that? Has that been something that's been a bit of a struggle to adapt to?
Oh, it's been hard. The first couple of times I had to eat eggs, they were making me sick. They were just, it was everything that goes along with them, what I dislike. And the old milk has been wreaking havoc in the downtown Leicester Brown, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, thank you.
That's how you kill that conversation. That is? All good. Thanks very much, guys.
Jaha, kasvissyöjille on jouduttu syöttämään lihaa eläinkunnan tuotteita, että vähentyneeseen kalorisaantiin saadaan riittävän määrä proteiinia. Mielenkiintoinen keissi. Ei siis ihan ymmärrettävää, kyllähän monesti sekasyönti on se varmaan terveellisin tapa syödä. Lassi Jäkälä, hei, Charles Oliveira häkissä ja myös häkin ulkopuolella, niin erittäin hieno mies. Ja nyt hei, jos esimerkiksi kuumaliimamies ja kaikki muutkin, ketkä nyt vasta saa tervetuloa toivotukset, niin hienoa, että olette päässeet paikalle. Tervetuloa Lontooseen, Canary Wharfiin. Täällä UFC Lontoon mediapäivä käynnissä. Ja meillä on muutama tulija vielä tulossa. Ja jos joku omista lemppareista on ehtinyt jo käymään, niin sen voisit katsoa jälkikäteen. Eli meillä on käynyt Marcin Tybura, Julija Stoliarenko, Fili, Herbert, McCann, Shauna Bannon, Paul Gregg. Ja sitten meillä on vielä 4 vierasta jäljellä. Nathaniel Wood, Lerone Murphy, Mick Parkin, joka muuten taitaa olla se debutantti, ja sitten pääottelija Aspinall, eli 4 vierasta vielä. 11.45 paikallista aikaa pitäisi olla Nathaniel Woodin paikan päällä. Eli se on ihan just. Aikataulut toki täällä vähän menee miten menee, mutta sellaista se on. Tähän asti tämä pressi on mennyt aika kivuttomasti. Täällä on aika vähän väkeä, ollaan päästy hirmu hyvälle paikalle istumaan. Kamera saatu melkein keskelle pöytää, että me ollaan niin hyvällä paikalla kuin vaan voidaan olla. Mitään pahoja myöhästymisiä ei ollut, eikä täällä tule olemaan mitään hirveän pitkää listaa ottelijoita edes esiintymässä, eli me päästään varmaan Jannenkin kanssa tästä ihan kohtuuajoissa Lontoalle. Niille, ketkä ei vielä katsonut meidän YouTube-videoita Jambasta ja Jessestä ennen Cage Warriors-matsia, oltiin eilen hotellilla miehiä haastattelemaan, samalla haasteltiin Cage Warriorsin matchmakeria Ian Deania, niin kattokaa ihmeessä nekin. Makun luona käytiin viime viikonloppuna, että siellä on paljon meidän kanavallaan on uutta sisältöä. Toki täältä tulee sitten seuraava live huomenna Suomen aikaan kello 10.45 oli tarkoitus aloittaa tästä samasta paikasta virallinen punnitus. Se on 2 tunnin maksimisetti, tai maksimissaan 2 tuntia. Voisi veikata, että yleensä se on noin tunnin rykäsy. Ellei sitä raskassa sellaista halua nukkua pitkään, ne tulee sitten just ennen kuin puntari 11 tää paikallista aikaa sulkeutuu, mutta toivotaan, että ei tarvii ihan hirveän pitkään huomenna sitä kökkiä. Ja tosiaan silloin nähdään siis virallinen punnitus. Perjantai-iltana sitten show-puntari. Sinne me ei ehditä mene, koska me mennään sitten kattoo Cage Warriorsia, kun Jamba ja Jesse siellä ottelee. Olisiko tehnyt mulle palveluksen, antanut mulle yhden vesipullon? Joo, siitä vaan. Joo. Nyt vasta saadaan toi ottelutapahtuman logo tuohon pöytään. Se tippui jo siinä, kun pressiä aloitettiin, mutta ei se nyt ole niin justiinsa. Noniin, sit sieltä tuleekin Nathaniel Wood vaihtaa tuosta pelkkään kameraan.
You're right, Nathaniel, over to your left. Hello. We'll get this one out of the way early doors. Last time you were booked to fight, it was going to be Lerone. Now you're both booked on the same fight card, but you're not fighting each other. Why is that? Because it seemed like a natural thing to just rebook it.
If I'm honest, I'm not sure. Maybe the UFC are hoping that we can make a bigger fight in the future. Maybe when we're both ranked, maybe it makes more sense. Maybe something like a main event in London next year, who knows? But yeah, it was the fight that I was asking for. My manager put it forward and said, look, can we get this fight back on? But it didn't obviously happen.
You got Andre Fili. That's a banger of a matchup. And he's been in the UFC for almost 10 years. We just had him, and he clearly still has that fire in his belly. He wants to still achieve big things in a division. What do you make of him and his performances in the UFC over the course of that time?
Mate, I'm a big fan of him. Way before I even was in the UFC, I was watching him. Very talented, very skillful fighter. He's a bigger name than Lerone, who I was matched with originally. So, that always helps as well. I should get more out of this win than I would fighting other people. So, he comes to scrap. I like that. But I do believe that I'm better in all areas. That's no disrespect to him. I think he's a very talented fighter and he's very game. And as you say, he's been there 10 years and it's hard to get in the UFC and it's harder to stay. So the fact that he's been here this long, Just shows how talented he is. So, you know, a win over him will be good on my CV.
I think probably geographically you are, of all the people on the UFC roster, the one that lives the closest to the O2 Arena. So how much does it mean to be able to, because there's been a couple of fights where you were due to fight here, they fell through. How much will it mean to actually get out there in the O2 and start throwing hands in front of friends, family, all the rest of it?
It means everything to me. It's added pressure. You know, I believe I'm the only UFC London fighter as well. So to be the only one is you know, it's added pressure on my shoulders. But I rise to that. You know, I perform better under pressure. So those added nerves, if you like, in performing in your hometown, that's it just helps me be a better athlete. And you know, man, I'm not even staying at the hotel. You know, I walked my dog this morning. I get to go to bed with my fiance. So everything is luxury. You know, I'm spoiled. I'm literally got my home comforts, and you know, there's no better feeling than leaving your own house to go and do battle. So yeah, you know, expect the best Nathaniel Wood on Saturday night.
And you say that, expect the best Nathaniel Wood. What can we expect from you in terms of evolution from the last time we saw you? What's improved? What extra tools have you added to your game, and how different are you going to look on Saturday night?
So I'm improving in all areas, obviously. You know, it's I never kind of specify in any area. I train everything. You know, I train grappling, I train striking, I do my MMA. Everything's, you know, this mixed martial arts. But, you know, I do believe that my speed is going to be too much for these featherweights. You know, I'm probably going to be the smallest. You know, maybe they're going to be stronger than me. But, you know, I know for sure that they ain't going to be quicker than me, and speed kills at the end of the day. So I look forward to having that advantage in my arsenal.
Give us a prediction for fight night.
I'm picturing a second round TKO finish from myself.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Nathaniel, I saw some of the clips on social media of your interview with John Gooden recently, and you talked a little bit about OCD and diagnosis and all that. I just wondered if you could elaborate on how it's negatively impacted your career and what you've put in place recently to kind of deal with it better.
So if I'm honest, it kind of works in my favour for my career, because without kind of going real in depth, because it's, you know, OCD's a puzzle, it's a big mystery, but there will be times I'm on the treadmill, let's say, doing sprints, and in my head I've told myself that if I'm not going to do another sprint, I'm going to die, or something's going to happen, you know. And it's a real dark thing to live with. It messes your life up massively, but in regards to my training, it only improves. You know, if I'm ever having a day where I feel like maybe I'm slacking, my OCD will say, my coach actually winds me up with it now. It's a bit twisted of him, but he'll say, if you don't do another rep, you're going to lose your fight. So, you know, Brad actually said it to me on the Charles Rosa fight. He said, if you're ever late to this session, you're going to lose your fight. And best believe I was never late to that session again. So, yeah, it kind of works in your favour sometimes, because you can kind of use it to better yourself, if you like. But yeah, in regards to like just living, it's it's not good. But you know, in regards to training, it helps me sometimes.
And in terms of that, if there's anyone that would watch this that does suffer with OCD, have you got any, I don't know what you call it, like helping tips, words of wisdom on how to deal with it better?
Stay busy. That's a big one for me, because it's a struggle. It's a battle with yourself mentally. But if you're sitting in a room on your own, not doing anything, you know, you're just going to let your thoughts go away with you, and you're just going to be arguing with yourself. So, you know, if you get out and you stay busy, it just distracts you. And that's, for me, what I found helped massively. I found that my worst times were when I was traveling an hour and a half to the gym on the train on my own, an hour and a half back, wouldn't read a book, didn't take music. That's when I think I was at my worst. But obviously, as I started to understand that, you know, I take a book. So on the train, I try not to think. You know, I try to focus my mind on stuff so that, you know, I don't kind of let my OCD and anxieties go away with me. So yeah, my best advice would be, if you haven't got someone, talk to someone first. You know, I'm always, luckily, I've got good family around me. But if you haven't, you know, I'd definitely say go and talk to someone. And then after that, just stay as busy as you can mentally.
And in terms of the fight, win over Andre Fili, obviously, as you've mentioned, big name. Does that get you a ranked opponent next, do you think? I mean, featherweight's a very stacked division. Where do you think you'll put afterwards?
So obviously, depending how you win, if I put a good performance in and get a good win, which I intend on doing, I'd like to think that I'm ranked after that. If I'm not, then yeah, you know, I'm going to be calling for the ranked guys. I have got guys in my head that I already want to fight after. So, you know, get this win, and then I've got a few names to call out.
And there's been a lot of featherweight GOAT chat recently, whether that's a good discussion, bad discussion, I don't know. But do you put Volk as the GOAT, or Aldo, or Max, or do you not really partake in those conversations, really?
I'll definitely say that Aldo's the GOAT because he's retired, he's the greatest of all time, but Volkanovski, I believe, is going to take that title. So, yeah, you know, it's exciting to be in a division that has got the pound-for-pound #1 guy currently at the moment.
Thanks very much, mate. Best of luck.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Nathaniel just here. There was a little bit of a run-in with Lerone Murphy this week at the hotel. Can you talk a little bit about what happened?
Yeah, so if I'm honest, that, you know, I think the social media said it was heated. That wasn't heated. That was really calm from me. But yeah, we just had a few words, a little bit of a conversation, if anything, or maybe like a heated debate. I guess we still just disagree, but it might just be one of those where we're just going to have to agree to disagree and move on, because nothing really kind of went anywhere with that conversation. I think, you know, it was just one of those, we walked past each other and, you know, I guess you've got to say something. And he come up to me first. I didn't even see him until I turned around. He was walking through the hotel lobby. But yeah, you know, it was a heated debate, if you like. But yeah, there wasn't really too much to it, to be honest.
And there were a lot of words exchanged between you two, both on Twitter as well before. Is there a little bit of animosity between you two?
So that's where things did get heated, you know, and it all stemmed from something that I said where I think was looking to put a masterclass on for this fight. Gutted it didn't happen, hope I can get it rearranged or whatever. And he took it personally, obviously, and then atted me. And then it just kind of went back and forth from there. So it started from 0, ended up at 100. And I guess, you know, what do you do with that? Because, yeah, I said things to him that, you know, are very offensive to him. He said things to me that are very offensive. You know, he said things to me that, you know, people were telling me I could go and speak to lawyers about, but I'm not obviously going to do that. But I think it just got over-escalated. You know, I think it kind of started from nothing. And I think deep down he knows that as well. You know, it's, if I'm honest, I wish him all the best. Do you know what I mean? Obviously, if we end up fighting, great. I'm going to try and knock him out, whether we're friends or whether we're not. But I'm not losing any sleep over it, you know, so I wish him all the best this Saturday. Hopefully he gets the win, I get my win, and, you know, if we can match up in the future and fight, then so be it.
Thank you.
Nathaniel, just down there. In preparation to this fight, I've heard your coach, Ash Grimshaw, saying how much you've been badgering him about getting your black belt. Is that somewhere in this fight you feel you've got a big advantage over Fili?
Yeah, I definitely think I'm the better grappler. I feel like people put me down as a striker because I prefer to strike. If I'm honest, I just like to entertain, and I know people want to see knockouts, they want to see strikers, but, mate, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for 14 years. You know, obviously I specialise in no-gi, hence why I haven't got my black belt. And if I put the gi on now, I'd probably get tapped out to white belts, but, you know, when it comes to no-gi, I'm a high-level grappler. But for me, that's plan B. You know, if things go wrong, go to the ground. You know, I feel like striking's my primary weapon. That's what I enjoy the most. And, you know, a happy fighter is a dangerous fighter. So when I'm in that octagon, you know, I like to be enjoying myself and having a good time.
Thank you.
Cheers, guys.
No niin. Siinä oli tosiaan Nathaniel Wood. Sori, kun mä kröhin meidän vedet väärään kurkkuun. 3 ottelijaa vielä. Eli Lerone Murphy, Mick Parkin ja Tom Aspinall. Ja tasolta pitäisi Lerone Murphyn olla tulossa. Lerone Murphystähän äsken jo puhuttiinkin. Heidän piti siis Lerone Murphyn ja Nathaniel Woodin kohdata, mutta silloin Woodilla tuli sääreen joku vekki muistaakseni ja se ottelu peruttiin, tai siis Wood vedettiin pois siitä ottelusta ja hän on sitten tässä käynyt sitten alun perin jossain somessa keskustelua aiheesta ja nyt sitten törmännyt tuolla hotelliaulassakin ja vissiin asia on sitten käsitelty naamatusten. Ei kuitenkaan mitään sen vakavampaa. Ja nyt sitten tosiaan äsken puheissa ollut Lerone Murphy, niin hänen pitäisi sitten olla seuraavana täällä. Lerone Murphy, niin hän kohtaa niin aussijoittaja Josh Culibao, niin olikin. Joo, ja tappelee tuolla väkkäri, kohta alkaa seinät kaatuu. Miksiköhän Mark Diakise ei ole täällä pressissä? En tiedä. Hänen kohtaa Joel Alvarezin sitten. Diakise kuitenkin kotikehän ottelijoita. Valtaosa näistä brittitähdistä on pressissä ollut itse asiassa. Katsotaan nyt. Nina Davey, Grant, Danny Roberts, Mark Diakise he ei ole ollut. Niin, eikä itse asiassa Chris Duncan myöskään. Eli kyllä jotkut näistä jää veke. Mick Parkin, ketä on vielä tulossa, 6-0-listainen brittiottelija, niin 27-vuotias. En tiedä mistä kaupungista hän on, mutta hän Contenderissa kävi viime syksynä nappaa 2 minuutissa takakuristuksella voitin ja hän on tekemässä sitten lauantaina UFC-debyyttiä. Ja hän tulee sitten ennen debyyttiä pääsee sitten myös pressin eteen. Lassi Jäkälä miettii, voiko olla niin pahat painovedet, ettei kerkeä mediaa hoitaa. Siis itse asiassa voi olla, että joillain on tällainen. Ja sitten varsinkin, jos et sä ole mikään pääottelija, niin sulla ei ole niin, että onko joku Mark Diakise täällä, niin se ei varsinaisesti merkitse mitään. No niin, sieltä tulee sitä Lerone Murphy.
How you doing, Lerone? Over to your left.
Hi.
Hiya. Just want to throw things back to the last fight. It was super short notice, opponent change, undefeated LFA champion stepping in there, gave you a really tough fight. How, as you look back on that, how satisfying was it to be able to take such a difficult assignment on next to no notice and still come through and get the win?
It's just another test, a bit more experience. I've never done that before. Fighting somebody on a week's notice, like you said, change of opponent. It's just more experience, like I said, and he's a tough guy, and I got through the test.
And it's another tricky one this weekend in Josh Culibao, a very tough competitor. What do you make of him as a fighter, and how do you feel your skills line up against his?
He's a solid fighter. He's only lost one in the UFC, and that was a short notice against a lightweight. So I respect his skills. I know he's good. I know it's going to be a tough test, but I'm up for the test, man. And I've trained hard for this, and I feel like skill for skill, we're similar strikers, similar setups and whatnot, and so it make a good fight.
Do you think this is the fight that's really going to start to build some momentum for you? There's been a few little false starts here and there, fights falling through, periods of inactivity, all the rest of it. Is this now where Lerone Murphy really starts to make a statement in
Well,
the
I
featherweight
hope
division?
so. I hope so. That's the plan. That's why I took the fight so soon after the last one, back-to-back camps. For me, I feel like activity is key to get active. So a big win here on Saturday night, and yeah, the momentum gets going.
What's the most likely path to victory for you, do you think?
A knockout.
Like it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Lerone.
Yeah.
You're, undefeated fighter, 4-fight win streak. What do you need to do to get a ranked opponent? Is this the fight that gets you the ranked opponent? And do you know if there's been situations where ranked opponents have declined to fight you or anything? Is it just that featherweight's such a stacked division?
Yeah, you just said it. Featherweight's a stacked division, and I feel like I need a solid performance to get that shot there. I don't think they can deny me after this fight. I think for sure I'll get a top 15 opponent with a big win here on Saturday night.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Lerone,
Yep.
we just had Nathaniel Wood in here. I know you two had a little bit of what he says was a heated debate in the hotel. Can you give us your take on what happened?
I don't think it was a heated debate. It's just a conversation. For me, it's just like we had back and forth on the internet, and I think it was important to bring that to reality and speak about it face to face, like men.
Is there any animosity between you two?
Nah, it's just like everyone's saying, "Oh, there's some beef, there's some beef." Nothing. If it was a beef, something would have happened there and then. It's just a disagreement, really.
And he said that you both said things to each other over Twitter, like you mentioned. He said something about you saying something to him that perhaps he could get lawyers involved in. I don't know if you know what that could be.
What? What could he have? Oh my God! This is what I'm saying. He's playing the victim. He wants to call me out. I was only responding to everything he said, so I know what he's going to say. Obviously, it's about the mental health thing or something, but basically he posted something about me saying, "Oh, I'm mentally weak because I don't like to get in ice baths," and I'm like, "Don't you take medication for your mental health? How can I be mentally weak? You can't call people mentally weak." Do you get what I'm saying? So that's all I said. So you can't be calling out lawyers and all that. I thought he's supposed to be a fighter.
Do you see this as a future fight between you and him? I think he's quite keen to perhaps do this as perhaps a main event for London somewhere down the line. What do you think?
Yeah, of course. If we both keep winning and it makes sense, yeah, of course. I'd love to beat him up.
How do you think that fight would go down?
You know how it'll go down. Finish, for sure, 100%. Within 2.
Thank you.
Yeah, nice. Thank you.
No niin, se oli nopea. Alun perin ei Murphylläkään ollut mitään erikoisempaa sanottavaa tuosta Wood-kohtaamisesta, mutta kun tuli kommenttia toimittajalta ja puhuttiin, että Wood sanoi, että hän olisi voinut vaikka jostain kommenteista pistää asianajia liikkeelle, niin se tietenkin herätti myös Lerone Murphyn. Just niin, Joni, toi alun perinhän Murphy ei ollut mitenkään tarttumassa aiheeseen, että nyt kyllä sinne heitettiin bensaa liekkeihin. Näinhän niitä luodaan, niitä vastakkainasetteluja. En tiedä, oliko välttämättä niin tyylikkäästi tehty. Että taho, jolla ei ole mitään tekemistä asian kanssa, niin pistää sinne vähän kiukaaseen vettä. Mutta hei, nythän meillä on enää kaksi kaveria tulossa. Ja se on niin, että Mick Parkin ja sitten Tom Aspinall. 2 vielä. Käy vaan, nyt kannattaa käydä ennen kuin tulee se päättö. Nyt vartti yli pitäisi tulla seuraava. Kello on joku 7 yli. Joo. Mä kävin tuossa Invovessassa. Mä ulos siitä, se on heti siinä. No niin, Matti Meikäläinen. Mukan mielestä ei ollut tosiaankaan tarpeellista ja Masanterikin ihan samoilla linjoilla. Ei ollut kyllä mitenkään niinku tyylikkäästi hoidettu. Jos joku haluaa olla idiootti, niin antaa niiden olla, mutta ei siihen mun mielestä meidän tehtävä ei teidän eikä mun eikä mun mielestä kenenkään muunkaan, ketä täällä on, tarvii lähteä hämmentämään tuommoista tarinaa. Vähän tuommoista niinku jossain ala-asteella, että kukaan sanonut mitään sanonut kenellekin tyylistä heittelyä. Tässä kun on vähän aikaa todennäköisesti aikaa ennen kuin toi Mick Parkin tulee vartin yli, pitäisi tosiaan hänen olla. Tässä on 6 minuuttia aikaa. Niin, jos jollain on ollut jotain palautetta tästä, että miten tää aamun setti on hoidettu, että nyt meillä pitäisi olla, että meille tulee tuohon striimikameraan tulee äänet suoraan tuolta äänipöydästä XLR:n kautta, eli me saadaan noin mikkiäänet meidän striimiin, niin sielläkin omasta mielestä on vaikuttanut noita palkkeja seuratessa hyvälle ratkaisulle. Siitä voi, jos on ollut huono tai ei ole ollut huono, niin sanokaa. Pyritään tekemään sama ratkaisu huomennakin, ettei tarvitse kameraa laittaa omaa mikkiä, vaan otetaan toi äänipöydästä suoraan ääni. Nyt kun meillä on Sonyn tommonen XLR-kahva kiinni kamerassa, niin se ihan selkeästi jees. Nyt meillä on muutenkin 2 kameraa, että mulla on koko ajan kamera tuossa striimissä kiinni ja Janella on se toinen kamera. Nyt pystyy kuvaamaan B-rollia ja ottaa valokuvia ja tällaista. Mutta tämä määrä, mitä meillä on piuhoja ja latureita ja kaikkea muuta tämmöistä oheishömppää, niin se on hengästyttävä. Jotenkin toivoisin, että kaikki olisi paljon helpompaa. Mutta tähän kun tultiin pöydän ääreen, niin varmaan puoli tuntia meni, että saatiin laitteet ylipäätään niin kaikki kytkettyä. Ja sitten pitää mennä lataamaan niitä, kun päästään hotellille ja kaikki se jotenkin aiheuttaa mulle näppylöitä, mutta se on osa tätä. Ainakin striimi on pysynyt hyvin auki, tai yhteydet on toiminut jopa Wifin läpi. Se on tosi hassua. Mulla on kyllä Ethernet-piuha kiinni donglesta tuossa koneessa, mutta siinä ei näköjään liiku mitään. Mitään kovin yllättävää tai erikoista tai ihmeellistä niin ei olla lausuntojen saralla kuultu. Kukaan ei ole heittänyt mitään ihmeellistä tai erikoisen törkeitä tai mitään räikeitä. Että ihan tämmönen suht urheiluun panostava tää on ollut tää sessio. Toivon mukaan samalla lailla saadaan tää hoidettua loppuun. Mitään turhaa hömppää ei kyllä kaipaa eikä jaksa kuunnella. Yksi ruotsalainen ottelijahan me nähdään täällä ottelukortilla, eli Pani Kiantsad tuolla esiotteluissa on ottelussa. Panihan on käynyt Suomessa. Vai ei se ollut Suomessa, vaan siis otellut suomalaista vastaan, anteeksi. Ja tää ottelu on ollut, oliko se nyt sitten Superiorissa? Cage Warriors, anteeksi. Pani Kiantsad otteli Cage Warriors mestaruusottelu Eeva Siiskosta vastaan, minkä Pani Kiantsad voitti. Ja siitähän Kiantsad lähti sitten eka Invictaan, mistä tuli sitten vähän punaista. Kävi Tuffissa 28 seasonilla. Hävisi Meisilissa ja sitten kävi Superiorissa ja sitten siitä UFC. Ja tehnyt lopulta sitten ihan hyvän UFC:ssä. Mites hei, onks kellään mitään palautetta vaikka eilistä videoista, Jamban ja Jessen haastattelusta tai Ian Deanin tarinoista, mitkä eilen tosiaan tuo Cage Warriorsin ottelijahotellilla käytiin tekemässä. On tietenkin puolueellista sanoa, kun oli itse tekijänä, mutta oli tosi nastaa Ian Deanin kanssa rupatella kameralle. Ian oli huolimatta siitä, että heillä on täyshärdeli päällä 15 ottelua ja ottelijat oli just saapumassa hotellille ja siellä säädettiin kuvia mitä ikinä, niin miehellä oli aikaa ja intoa tulla meidän kanssa siihen juttelemaan. Useasti Ian Deanista ollaan käytetty termiä, että hänestä kyllä kukaan ei sano pahaa sanaa, että hän on erittäin miellyttävä, kiltti ja sympaattinen, vaikka hänen toimenkuvansa on siinä mielessä tunteita herättävä, kun toimii Cage Warriorsin matchmakerina, mutta hän on erittäin pidetty. Ihan syystä tosi mukava jätkä. Lassi Jäkälä, kiitos kun olet laittanut kanavan tilaukseen ja kaikille muillekin, jotka on tilannut kanavan. Tämähän on meille tietenkin, että mitä enemmän te katsotte ja mitä enemmän saadaan tilaajia kasaan, niin mahdollistaa sitten sitä, että me voidaan tehdä näitä pikkasen enempiä, pikkasen useammin ja pikkasen paremmin. Nyt mun kello näyttää, että se olisi 15 yli, niin olisikohan se Mick Parkin nyt seuraavana tuossa. Joo, Matti Meikäläisen Ian Dean on mukava ja aika semmoinen erilainen kaveri, mitä näissä piireissä pyörii. Ja hänelläkin aika vahva tommonen Lontoon nuotti puheessa. No niin, kiitos Jukaltakin, kun on kanava tilattu. Ja saa toki kavereillekin suositella, jos joku on kiinnostunut kamppailuurheilusta, niin Ylilyöntiperhe toivottaa kaikki lämpimästi tervetulleeksi ja yhdessähän me tätä tehdään, et ilman teitä niin eihän meillä olisi mitään tekemistä, sitten me juteltaisiin vaan keskenään. Lassi Jäkäläkin tuolta lisää vaan suomalaista vaparisisältöä, ei niitä hirveästi semmoista ainakaan aktiivista sisällöntuotantoa ole. Toki ottelijat itse, urheilijat, salit, valmentajat tekee sisältöä. Ja sitten, no, tämäkin on taas vähän jääviä sanoa, kun itse teen Iltalehdelle hommia, niin Iltalehti on aika säännöllisesti kaikesta tällaisesta kamppailuun, urheiluun liittyvästä myös uutisoi, tehdään videoraportteja ja puhutaan kuumista topiikeista. Eli sieltä löytyy Anssi Karjalaisen kanssa Kulmamiehet -ohjelmaa tehdään. No tokihan me tehdään sitten Mesikämmenen kanssa podcastia, että se nyt on varmasti valtaiselle meistä ja teistä tuttu. Okei, Lassi Maunila. Mä en tiennyt, että tää oli tää Immun puhuma kaveri. Mulla ei ollut mitään käsitystä siitä, mutta Miikka Lahtinen, joka on vaihtanut rugbyin, voi hyvin olla. No niin, Joni Holtakin tilaus ja kehut. Nöyrä kiitos. Jessen tekniikkatripla oli tosi mukava. Se oli hyvä looginen semmonen sekvenssi. Painitilanne seinää vasten, siitä kaato. Miten päästään mounttiin ja miten mountista pakotetaan toinen sitten tekemään virhe, mitä hyödyntämällä sitä match saadaan lopetettua. Kannattaa käydä se Antto Kuivasen tekniikkatripla kanssa katsomassa. Siinä on kans ihan hyvä setti. Tommosia tekniikkatriploja varmasti tullaan tekemään lisää niin paljon kuin meillä on vaan aikaa ja resursseja. Nyt taitaa tulla seuraava. No niin, ja sieltä tulee Parkin.
How you doing, Mick? Over to your left, sir. Hiya. First UFC fight week. How's it been so far?
Oh, it's been amazing. Much better than I expected. Like, there's so much stuff the UFC give you on fight week that wasn't expecting at all, from meals to like physio. It's been absolutely amazing.
And you've had to wait a little bit to get that first UFC booking, obviously with the Contender Series. It was pretty much a year ago, wasn't it? What was the reason for the delay in getting you booked? Were you injured, or is it just taken that long?
Yeah, no, there was a slight injury after the fight. I wanted to make sure I was 100% for my debut. So I did get offered a fight on the Edwards-Usman card, which would have made more sense.
Yeah.
But I wasn't 100% by then, so I wanted a good 6 weeks. I've been 100%, so I'm ready to go now.
So how much has that extra time been a benefit to you as you're getting ready to face Jamal?
Oh yeah, it's been great. I train pretty hard non-stop outside of fight camp. I'm still training pretty much the same. I mainly just spar harder in a fight camp. But training with obviously the likes of Tom, I'm just getting better all the time. I've got like 5 or 6 heavyweights who are really high level, who are pushing us all the time. So all it's done is the time off just goes better.
And what will it mean to you to actually make that walk for your debut on home soil as well, with hopefully friends and family and loads of people cheering you on from the stands?
Yeah, that was the main thing about it. Like talking to people who fight in the UFC. I know there's more cards coming to England now, but originally mainly America. So this could be like the last time I fight in England for a while, really. So to have my debut, while my friends and family come down, is a dream come true. And then maybe there'll be one next year, I don't know, but it could be a while since I fight in England again, so make the most of it.
And for a lot of people who will be watching the fight on Saturday, it'll be the first time they've seen a Mick Parkin fight. What can they expect to see from you?
Oh yeah, I think hopefully they've watched the Contender Series. I don't think I showcased all my abilities there. Got that tough fight out the way. But yeah, I think I'll be different heavyweight. I'm not just like a slugger, plant my feet. I move nice for a heavyweight, so hopefully people enjoy it.
Brilliant, thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All good? Any other questions? Perfect, thank you very much. Yeah, sure.
No niin. Mick Parkin, joka siis tosiaan lauantaina tekee UFC-debyyttinsä, niin kävi ensimmäisessä UFC-lehdistöesiintymisessään. Ketäs vastaan Parkin nyt otteli? Nyt en muistanut edes. Vähän löi tyhjää. Jamal Pogues. Eli kortin tuolla alkupuolella. Tai esiotteluissa on siis Mick Parkin. Ihan pakko vähän vielä lunttaa tästä, kun huonosti muistan, että yhdysvaltalainen Pogues varmaan pitäisi sanoa, Pogues kirjoitetaan, niin on nostaa painoluokkaa kevyestä raskaasta raskaaseen. Hän on vähän lyhkäisempi, tuuman verran lyhyempi, mitä sitten britti Parkin. Kolme voittoa kuitenkin jenkkiottelijalla alla, eli ei mikään semmonen helppo tai mikään läpihuuto debyyttimatsi. Sekä Parkin että Pogues samanikäisiä 95 syntyneitä. Nyt odotellaan enää Tom Aspinalia, eli yksi ottelija vielä käymättä. Se on pääottelija ja vielä kotikehästä, ja mä luulen, että se varmaan kestääkin vähän aikaa, kun Aspinall tähän saadaan, niin kaikilla on hänelle kysyttävää, ja ihan syystäkin. Aspinall otteli viime kesänä pääottelussa täällä Curtis Bladesia vastaan. Matsi ei kauan ehtinyt vanhentua, kun ilmeisesti potkutilanteessa Aspinallin oma polvi petti, ja siitä sitten matsi päättyi ja leikkaushoitoa ja sairaslomaa. meidän virallisessa aikataulussa lukee, että puolelta Tom Aspinall tulisi nyt todennäköisesti 5 minuuttia tässä joudutaan vielä odottelemaan. Joni on sitä mieltä, että Tompa paluu kyllä maistuu. Se varmasti maistuu monelle muullekin. Aspinall on erittäin pidetty ja erittäin mielenkiintoinen raskan sarjan mörssäri, jolla on nopeutta ja vikkelyyttä ja taitoa kaikilla osa-alueilla, niin kyllä sellaista katsoo. Aspinallilla taitaa olla, no siellä onkin yksi ammattinyrkkeilymatsi, mutta en tiedä onko se sitten niin amatöörimatseja enemmän, mutta kuitenkin myös nyrkkeilytaustaa. Ja oliko niin, että Aspinallin isä on joku tyyli brittien ensimmäisiä mustia vöitä, eli Aspinall on myös könynyt tuolla matossa pitkän aikaa lapsesta asti. Lassi, hei, Jamban ja Jessen tähdittämä ilta niin taitaa alkaa paikallista aikaa. Janne, monelta Ian sanoi, että se alkaa se Jamban ilta. Muistatko? Okay. No, jos mä sanon, että se alkaa paikallista aikaa vaikka 5:30, niin mä en hirveästi valehtele, kun siellä alun perin piti olla 17 ottelua, mutta siellä on 15 ottelua ainakin eilisen tiedon mukaan ja Jamba on 4. Ja mun mielestä Ian sanoi, että Jamban matsi on paikallista aikaa joskus 6:30-7 välillä. Mutta jotain sellaista on, eli se on varmaan niinku, onko se Suomen aikaa varmaan voisiko olla 7 alkaa se lähetys. Käykää katsoa Fight Passit. Mä viittin nyt avaa Fight Passia. Just tuli ilmoitus, että netti vähän tökkii, niin ei viitti kuormittaa enempää että pysyy striimi elossa. Tosi ärsyttävää, kun tähän loppupätkälle niin alkaa yhteydet kangistella. Se varmaan johtuu osittain siitä, että valtaosa toimittajista uploadaa tässä koko ajan Wifin läpi sitten jotain. Antti Kärkkäinen sanoi 20:40 alkamisajaksi, eli silloin se on niin tätä aikaa, se on sitten kun mulla on 2 tuntia jäljessä, se on 18:40. Kannattaa he oikeasti varmistaa sitten vielä niitä aikatauluja, koska ne voi olla vähän mitä sattuu. Yleensä se menee niin, että kun UFCn showpuntari loppuu 17:30, niin sillä kellonlyönnillä alkaa tyyliin Cage Warriorsin viereisessä salissa. Et ne menisi päällekkäin, mutta tää on ihan semmonen niinku heitto. Se ei en voi sanoa sitä 100% totuutena. Ja mä puhun siis, kun puhun 17:30 päättyy UFCn showpressi, niin puhun siis brittiajasta ja sehän tarkoittaa sitten 19:30 Suomessa. Nyt takalta kuuluu kyllä puhetta. No niin, ja nyt sieltä saapuu Tom Aspinall.
Hello. Hello. Tom, welcome back to action. First one, I want to start with, you saw Tybura earlier this week and immediately asked him why he wasn't fat anymore. Were you surprised that he was a bit more svelte coming into fight week?
I think he's still got that skinny fat thing going though. I think he might be hiding a little belly under there. No, he looks in good shape. He looks in good shape, to be honest with you. I think it's a big fight for him. It's a big fight for me as well, obviously. And we've both trained hard for it by the looks of things. And you can tell with his physique.
Yeah. I feel like this is a commentary on your ability as well, but a lot of people are counting him out. They're not really giving him a lot of chance. For the outsiders that don't appreciate it, what does he do well that we don't realise?
He does a lot of things well, and I don't understand why people are counting him out, because he's won 7 of his last 8 in the rankings as a heavyweight. That's a pretty good record, mate, if you ask me. And he's very durable. He doesn't quit. which is pretty rare for a heavyweight. Usually when heavyweights start to get a little bit tired, they start to look for a way out, and he definitely doesn't. He's got loads and loads of experience, and I've took him extremely, extremely seriously.
You mentioned he doesn't like to quit and go away. You sort of expect him to be the guy that can put him out and show that you are maybe a bit levels above?
Yes.
How excited are you for Sunday morning to not be asked about your knee again?
Oh, mate, I can't wait to never be asked about my knee again. That's going to be excellent. I'm going to be moving around in there nice on Saturday night and show everyone that we are at full health and everything's recovered, mate. I feel good. I feel great. And yeah, I'm fucking sick of talking about the knee, mate, to be honest with you.
Are you still going by Tommy Two Legs, or did Bisping call
No,
you?
Bisping put me off when he called me a paedophile, so
That'd do it.
I want to stay away from that register, that sex offenders register. I don't want to be linked to that at all, so staying away from that, mate.
Good career choice. If you could win this fight by go-go plata, running knee, or flying arm triangle, how would you win it?
Probably running knee. The others, yeah, heavyweights aren't doing the others, so yeah, that suits me.
Your old mate Tyson Fury is fighting Francis Ngannou soon. What are your thoughts on that fight, and how do you see Tyson and Francis matching up?
I think Ngannou's got a puncher's chance, but it's a very, 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 very small puncher's chance, very slim chance. As someone who has sparred Tyson a lot and seen Tyson up close, sparring a lot, and seen him fight up close, I think that someone with the inexperience of someone like Francis Ngannou, it's going to be really tough. Obviously, he punches like an absolute truck, and if you put Francis Ngannou in there with anybody and tell him that he's allowed to punch him, he's got a chance against anybody. But Tyson Fury is a master of what he does, and it's going to be a tough night for Ngannou, I think.
Have you spoken to Tyson about the fight?
Yeah, I spoke to him. He called me the other day. He asked if I'll help him with training and stuff. So we'll see how it goes, mate. We'll see how it all goes. You know, I've got a busy schedule myself, so we'll be in touch again after my fight's over with.
Last one from me. You know, last time you did this and the knee and everything kind of blew up, how excited are you to go out there on Saturday and hear no again?
I'm excited for that. I can't wait for that. I just want to fight again, mate. I'm really happy actually this time. I've missed it more than I realised until I actually got to fight week. Like, I'm really, really happy to be here, really grateful to be here, and I'm looking forward to it, mate. Can't wait.
Tom, over to your left. No one wants to be on an injury layoff, but were there benefits to being off for that length of time in terms of progressing your game, finally sort of tuning your skills for this upcoming fight?
I mean, it gave me a lot of time to get everything right in my life. Before, I don't know, I think I'm kind of a superstitious guy, and if everything's going well, I don't really want to change stuff, even if I know it's wrong, if that makes any kind of sense. Like, well, that made sense to me before, but I feel like I've really changed a lot inside and outside of the gym, inside and outside of fighting, and I think that this time has given me loads of chance to work with loads of good heavyweights in training, make sure that my body's looked after and good, make sure that I'm well rested and that I'm in a good place mentally. And mate, I can sit up here all day and talk about it, how good I am, but ultimately I have to show it on Saturday, and that's what I intend on doing.
We had Molly McCann in here earlier, and she was talking about how her career was going at like 100 miles an hour. Then she had a setback, and now she feels a lot calmer, and things seem to be coming at her at a slightly slower speed. She's seeing things a lot better now. Is that going to be a similar case with yourself, do you think?
I don't know. It's just a fight, mate, to me. I'm going in there fighting with someone, and it's irrelevant as to what pressure's on me and all that kind of stuff. I'm just going in there to do a sport, and I just look forward to that.
Looking to make a big statement, get a big win this weekend. Heavyweight division is absolutely wide open. There's a clutch of contenders who are all about to be in big matchups coming up. Obviously, there's yourself. Who else in that heavyweight division would you say are the most dangerous contenders who you might have to face before you get
There's
a shot?
absolutely loads, mate. There's loads. I don't really want to miss anyone off, but the ones who stand out are like, obviously, this Pavlovich, who's ranked number one at the moment. He's like, on paper, the number one contender. You got loads of dangerous guys, mate. Like obviously there's Sorogan, Spivak fighting. There's Tuivasas fighting Volkov. Like these are all obviously there's Almeida and Blades fight. Like these guys are good, mate. It's not like 10 years ago when they were all old fat heavyweights who were just standing there punching each other. These are like guys who are not even in the prime yet. So I think we got an exciting 10 years ahead of us in the heavyweight division. It's going to be a great time.
And how far off from a title fight do you think a big win, a big stoppage win this weekend will put you?
Well, heavyweight MMA kind of has its own rules, in my opinion. If I'm like rank number 5 and I fight rank number 10, which is what's happening, and I lie on him for 5 rounds and it's a boring fight, it's not really going to move me up at all. But if I go out there and knock him out in 30 seconds with some crazy spinning elbow, like that's going to put me as a number 1 contender. And that's just the way it works, mate. It doesn't always come down to rankings. It's like impressive performances. So it all depends on how the fight goes Saturday. What kind of finish am I going to get? What kind of win am I going to get? How the fight's going to go? I don't know. We'll just see.
Last one from me. When you've spoken to us in the past and you've talked about wanting to fight John Jones one day, but back then you said you weren't ready. Do you think you're ready now?
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you.
Just to go off the back of that, John Jones is going to be fighting Stipe Miocic. What do you think about that matchup? How do you think it goes down?
I think it's interesting. I think it's difficult to pick a winner, really, because Stipe now is getting a little bit long in the tooth, I would say. He's got a lot of miles on the clock, and he hasn't fought for like 2 or 3 years now, and that's going to be difficult. Oscar, can you move your head, please? I can't see the lady behind you. Thank you. He's just getting his head in the way. He's very rude. And yeah, I think it's difficult to know where Stipe's at this point. Whereas John Jones, we know exactly where he's at. He's just had a great performance. So it's heavyweight MMA. You can never say exactly what's going to happen at obviously the highest level. But I would say that John Jones has the edge, definitely.
And do you see John Jones sticking around for much longer after that fight?
I hope so. Like, that's my dream fight. My goal in the future moving forward is not only to win, but like I want to excite John Jones. Like, I want him to look at me and think, I keep saying it in interviews and stuff, but at this point he probably doesn't know who I am. He probably doesn't, and I'm like, that's fine. But I want him to watch me fight in the next few fights and think, I need to stick around for this guy. Like, this guy deserves... I need to test... I want him to look at me and think, I need to test myself against this guy and be excited about guys like me coming through and want to take that challenge.
How do you see yourself matching up with John Jones?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Tom, when you're doing a job that you love to do, obviously it's an amazing thing, it's an amazing feeling, but when that opportunity is then taken away from you, whether it be through injury or other things, it can be a really difficult thing for your mental health. How did you find this last year in terms of mentally not being able to do that job that you love to do?
I found it pretty difficult, mate, to be honest. After a couple of months, I was all right, maybe less. The toughest bit was not being able to walk for me. And like you say, at first I was like, I didn't know how long I was going to be out for. It's all right. Even like losing a fight, mate, say I got knocked out or I lost a points decision or whatever, you know that in 3 months you're going to get another crack at it. Whereas with me, it was like, I didn't know when I was going to be able to train again, didn't know when I was going to be able to fight again, and it was a tough time, mate. Mentally, it's a really tough thing to suffer an injury in front of millions of people and be sat at home on your own, unable to walk. Like, that's quite tough.
Was there anything that was a springboard for you to kind of start feeling better about it, or was it simply once your body started healing, your mind started feeling better? Once
I was able to start the rehab process and stuff, I was all right, because I literally treated it like a training camp. Getting back to getting my knee right, and my physio, he'd always give me like 2-week goals. So it'd always be like, right, in 2 weeks you need to be doing this. So it always like give me something to look forward to and stuff. So I really had great people around me to help me get back to where I am, and I really kept everything good in terms of what I was putting in my body, the rest I was taking. Like, I think you can tell from my physique now that I didn't just get fat over the time that I was away. Like, I took everything really serious, mate. I probably took, honestly, the rehab process more serious than I've taken any training camp, and I'm not even joking. Like, I put all good stuff in my body, took the right rest, hypnotherapy, like I did everything to get back better than when I left.
Thanks very much, mate.
Thanks,
Best of
mate.
luck.
Tom, just down here, sorry. I know you said that you don't want to speak about the knee injury too much and you're kind of sick of speaking about it. But you were already known as being one of the most athletic fighters across any weight class. Do you think that there's going to be a bit of surprise from the people to see how different you look post-surgery?
Yeah. A lot of people, well, the close people to me know that I was getting through these training camps and fights, mate, with one leg. And that's not over-exaggerating. So I think me with two legs is definitely has a lot more to offer than me with one leg. So I think it will surprise a few people the way I move around the octagon on Saturday.
Does that obviously include your kicking game? I'm guessing that's something that's evolved over the...
Yeah, not just kicking though. There's all kinds of stuff there's certain movements I couldn't do. I couldn't grapple for too long. Like I was barely grappling at all before. Like I would be on my knees for half an hour. I'd have to stop training because my knee would be swollen. So that's gone. And I've done some great training with great heavyweights for the full camp. It's not been like we've had the odd heavyweight. Every single day, mate, I've got heavyweights to train with, which is pretty rare thing. So I'm really happy about that and how my body feels responding to that as well.
And I know you mentioned it there about the physio and how seriously you took that. You mentioned that during that time you were asking your physio to set you goals for you to hit. How important do you think that was to do that during the recovery?
Well, me personally, I need a goal. Otherwise, I'm just like treading water. It's just boring. And that's when I do start getting a bit down in the dumps and that when I'm just stuck doing nothing with it, like aimlessly going through life. I don't really like that stuff. Like I need something to work towards. So it's very important for me.
Thank you.
Thanks, mate.
No niin, nythän me saatiin tästä pressi kerättyä kasaan. Kaikki ottelijat on päässyt ääneen, kenen pitikin päästä ja aikataulutkin piti. Hei, seuraava live siis huomenna perjantaina aamulla täältä samasta paikasta. Silloin on ohjelmassa virallinen punnitus. Se alkaa Suomen aikaa 11:15 meidän lähetys. Siihen tähdätään. Nöyrä kiitos kaikille, ketkä on ollut mukana. Ja hei, käykää tsiigaa vielä noita reissusta tehtyjä videoita, jos et ole vielä käynyt. Ja kiitos kaikille kanavan tilaajille ja muillekin seuraajille. Nähdään huomenna. Moikka!